That's Luigi.
Oh no, they're adorable.
He's he's a wild one. He's going to move again very soon. I also saw Kyle. You had a background cat at one point too, so maybe he's. Oh, hi, hey, buddy. Nope, no, okay.
So,
Wild.
He's a wild one.
it's a good harbinger for a session to come if a cat refuses to show up on camera. Anyone who's watching this, yeah, because we've just gone live. Sorry, that got caught up there. But like, cats are cool. We're gonna see. Oh no, there's another cat there. All right,
Yay!
cool. More cats. Are good. Hi to anyone who's watching this on the internet. You're watching a game that was arranged through the Gauntlet, which is a community on the internet that gets together to play tabletop role-playing games online. Yes, that's done now. That's how role-playing games half and half are done now online. Imagine that's the future. See, this is where the coffee's coming in. I'm getting to a tangent. Oh my God, there's a cat. Anyway, we're watching us play a game of Blades in the Dark by John Harper. It is a game of thieves, scoundrels, criminals, ne'er do wells banding together, trying to survive in an industrial haunted fantasy city. So imagine Victorian era Gothic on the cusp of steampunkish city, but it's powered by the blood of horrible leviathan eldritch whales. Ghosts abound. And the sun has been shattered into tiny tiny pieces, so it's almost a perpetual night in this world. And but you're all gonna be criminals. Trying to survive, trying to make it. It should be a fun time. It'll be fun. All right. So what I'm gonna do is we kind of introduce each other to yourselves here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get you all to introduce your characters at this time, um, and I'm gonna go by the order of the sheets and roll 20 from top to bottom. Obviously, we're gonna be skipping over our whisperer who can't be here with us today. So and I don't have to introduce a character. I have to play the entire damn city. So I'll start with you, Charles. Tell us about our hound.
Okay, hello to the streamers. Hi, I'm Charles. My pronouns are he, him. My character today for Blades in the Dark is Selkalla Bowen, alias Moon. She is a Skovlin, which is to say immigrant woman who family came over during a period of time prior to the Unity War, which is a recent sort of historical event in the sort of Blades in the Dark fiction. The Unity War we can understand as kind of a war of what some would call aggression or colonization, held by Akaros, which is the main continent and the main empire of the setting, against the land of Scotland. So she is a Scotlander, but she is integrated relatively well into Akarosian culture, which is represented by her background. She was actually a military scout sniper during the Unity War on the side of the Akarosian military. She was politically suspect because of her heritage, but she served well and was honorably discharged at the end of service. And now she has turned to criminal pursuits for reasons that we will probably discover in game because I haven't specified them. Her vice is gambling. She is a hound per the playbook, and so that makes her an expert scout and tracker and sharpshooter.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to see her in action. She's got some cool stuff and cool moves. All right. I'm going down from there to, Kyle, tell us about our leech.
Yes, I'm playing Mara Mitchter, a leech. She was a university student until she realized she could make a lot more in crime. So she dropped out and started doing crime.
Nice.
What more do you need to know? University. Okay, all right. I can't go into a tangent about university. That's for me and not for everyone else to know.
I presume you also saved a lot of money in terms of student loans you will not have to pay off now.
That too.
Nice.
That too. All right, cool. All right, that's Mara. Ooh, There's a bit I forgot, but I'll just swing back to y'all because let's just introduce our characters for now, and then I have some questions. But last but not least, Patsy, tell us about our cutter.
Okay, yeah, he's the man in charge of the violence. He is Tobias Tattersall, because he's a little short, round guy, 46 years old, very dense, very immovable, bald, covered in leather gear, and very ugly, sort of hand-drawn tattoos. He's a former bluecoat, because it gave him excuses to hurt people and bully people and exert his authority. But he was discharged for brawling in the barracks. Ever since then, he's been a freelance security consultant, which is to say he breaks heads outside various bars and low dives. But recently he's gotten into some trouble, drinking a little too much, trying to make the voices go away. You know, just a lifetime of violence slowly coming back. So, yeah, he's looking for work, maybe something a little shadier, and is just primed for some villainous characters to maybe give him a job.
Wow. Wow, I like him a lot, actually. That's awesome.
Great. We're gonna need someone who can crack heads, for sure. Cool. So before we get into some stuff like crew stuff and a bit more character info, like I should have asked about friends and rivals. We'll get to that in a bit. First, remind folks of the safety tools that we're using for today. First off, I mentioned already lines and veils, but I'll reiterate once more. Lines are things that people have said they don't want to see in the fiction. It just won't happen. It's just not gonna show up. It's just off the table. Veils are things that can happen in fiction, but we're not gonna concentrate on them. Like they get like a sentence or two, or it happens off screen, or we'll fast forward over them. Like it can still happen, but we're not gonna linger on it. We're also using the X card, which basically means if we do roll into a scene where folks feel uncomfortable for any reason, and any reason is completely fine, no one has to explain why it is so. They can say they want to X card that either on the chat here on the StreamYard, just over there, or the Roll20 chat, or if you want to make the symbol on the video, just make those X there. I might have some questions on what's being X carded, but no one gets to question if it's used. If it's used, it's fine. We'll respect it and we'll roll back and try something else. And finally, we have an open door policy in this game. Basically, if folks need to step away from the quote unquote table, whether because there's an emergency they need to take care of, or they're more tired than they thought and need to take a break, or they just really need to go for like 5 minutes or so, a bio break as folks call it, you can call in at that any time. We'll pause the game and we'll accommodate your needs. Cool. So, do want to round back and ask about your deadly friends and rivals, because I forgot to ask about them. I'll go back to Selkalla. Who are your friends and rival? Or who are your friend and your rival?
Awesome. My deadly friend is Valeris, a spy, who I imagine to be... Actually, I'm not sure what they were a spy of or for, but I imagine them to be a friend in service during the Unity War. Actually, what might be really interesting there is if potentially they were on the other side and I was aware of it. So they might have been a Scotland spy who I associated with during the war. I say in my current background that Selkalla was honorably discharged, but that actually isn't necessarily strictly needed for the fiction. It might be more interesting if that was not the case. So this could potentially play into that. I think Valeris was in the war. My negative contact, my rival here, is Steiner, an assassin, and I think that Steiner is a sniper during the war that was in my unit that Selkalla had considerable problem with. He used excessive methods. He took delight in eliminating people from the enemy, and probably violated some rules of war or whatever over there. And it's possible that he's kept doing that ever since.
Nice. Well, not nice in the sense that they sound like a terrible person.
Relatively unpleasant, yeah.
yeah. Well, nice for our purposes.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Come to you, Mara. Tell us about your friend and rival.
All right. So my friend is Veldrin, a psychonaut. I'm not entirely sure what those are in universe, but I think we met at university, and Mara's focus. Her schooling is more on the engineering mechanical side, but she's always been kind of interested in the more spooky mystical side, which what Veldrin focused in. So they just maintained friends after Mara dropped out, and I'm assuming Veldrin got kicked out at some point.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they dropped out. They chose to drop out. It does here, like, yeah, in the book, Psychonaut could be like explorer of the psychedelic realms, the spooky stuff for sure. Yeah, I'll put that down. Who's your rival?
Stasia, an apothecary. We also met at university, but we were more rival types, and that's continued.
God, what your university must have been very colorful. Well, it is in the city. So yeah, apothecary. Does that mean like she's more into like well, not drugs, but like that sort of plant alchemical sort of side of things?
Yeah, I think she's like a chemist and does some pharmaceutical stuff sometimes.
Cool. All right, I'll add that in to her stuff. Cool. Keep them in mind, and we'll move to Tobias. Who's your friend and who's your rival?
Let me see. My friend, my positive contact is Grace, an extortionist, who I figure is maybe a former employer, someone who maybe owns one of the low drinking pits. Had to let me go. Very unfortunate, but we were through some stuff together. So I think if I need a favor, maybe she'd still sort me out. And my negative contact is Chill, a vicious thug. So a kindred spirit, basically. But we probably came up together. We guarded the same sorts of places. We worked the same doors. And maybe there could have been something special between the two of us. But, Tobias gets drunk. He says stuff he doesn't mean. And, between two violent people, passions can turn very quickly. So she'd probably kill me if she met me. You guys like it?
I love a good love story. God, I love it.
These people are ridiculous. Can't wait to meet them. All right, so let's work on the crew before we jump into the off-teased riots. For those who don't know, we are using a one-page score by Sean Nittner called Duskwall Riots of 847. Any links like Blades in the Dark and to that specific score I'm going to put down in the show description for anyone who might be interested. But yeah, let's look at creating the crew. So we already picked a crew type with shadows. For those who don't know, that's they're more in the thief, spy, saboteur side of things. So that's what we got going on. Don't worry if like it feels like it doesn't fit your character. Like most of the time, folks will fit around the crew. Usually you'll figure out what you can do within that crew. We're flexible like that. Okay, so we picked a reputation, which is honorable. Good luck, Tobias. Living up to that.
See how long that lasts.
Well, the nice thing is that for XP trigger wise, it's either bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. So if you want to like start, if you want to start letting people, oh no, I shouldn't make that an assumption. No, you'll be fine.
Well, honorable doesn't mean you're a nice person. It just means you're reliable.
Yeah, you're reliable. There we go.
Reliably cruel. Yes, I think we can pull that off.
Yeah, you all seem quite cool. All right, and we picked a lair.
I said reliably cruel.
Oh, cruel. Okay, well, I mean, you can be cool as well. Cruelty and coolness doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. Although I don't want cruelty. Should we make cruelty? Okay, all right, we're going to another tangent. Keep moving on. All right, so yeah, they picked the lair. It's a half-sunken grotto in the city's maze-like underground canal. So it's a bit damp there, but it's fine. So it's still small and pokey because you're tier 0 crew. So it works to your benefits. Did we decide on which district? I don't think we did. I think we passed it off till we have more people.
Yeah, I think that was true. And I think also it might make sense to figure out a little bit more about the situation of the riots,
Ooh.
because that could play into where we want that crew to be, I think.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Let's do that because we're gonna open up play proper with the riots breaking off, but the three of you can like help figure out why how the riots started. So I'll direct you to the handouts. There's a handout there called Doskvol riots, and there are three questions, and thankfully there are three players. So I'm gonna ask each of you one of those three. And there's questions for the GM. Don't worry about that. I'll read that later. That's for me. But so I'm gonna start with, and feel free. And when I ask you a question, you have like the final say, but feel free to toss it out to discuss it with everyone, um, if you'd so like. So I'm gonna start with Selkalla. I'll ask
Okay,
you the powder keg. Who is writing and what do they want? And then you tell me how your crew is connected to them.
awesome. The easy answer for me, which is therefore the one I am not going to choose, would be Skovlin refugees, because that would play directly into Selkalla's backstory. But I don't necessarily actually want to be like the spotlight character in that sense. In fact, I kind of don't want to be. So I'm going to choose one of the other options, and I really like press ganged Leviathan hunters in this case because that brings in
Ooh.
some of the elements I most enjoy, or well, I enjoy a lot of elements about the setting, but this one really stands out. So these are press ganged Leviathan hunters forced to sail the Void Sea on Lord Strangford's Nightbreaker. The Nightbreaker being one of the Leviathan hunting ships. They are led by Colin, or Colin perhaps, a scarred sailor who is unafraid of death, connected, and a Lotus addict, which is quite the spread of connections. And they're demanding the end of press ganging conscription for the hunting ships. So the questions are: which of you served with Colin? Do you owe him your life, or the other way around?
Yeah. So which one do you think? I mean, again, I think probably the easiest answer would be the one who actually did serve in the war. But and I
Sure.
don't know a university dropout, but well, hmm, no, probably not. Or would it? Would have served them. I don't know. Would it? So it'd be either like Tobias or Selkala, unless there be, unless there were like also a university like kick out who ended up becoming a sailor. Not sure, but yeah, which one of you think would have wanted to serve with Colin?
I'm happy to volunteer, and I think that it's totally reasonable that he was originally a sailor for the Akarosian military, and so he's got that military pride, and has that history, like he served on a destroyer or something during the War of Unity, and so adding Colin's military background and organizational talents definitely seems like it adds an interesting wrinkle to his leadership of the riots.
Cool. All right. So if everyone's agree with that, we're gonna go with Leviathan Hunters. So that's really cool. Uh, Now we can't not have a score involving a ship now. Um, all right. So I'm gonna go next to the Spark, and I'm gonna ask Mara this. The writing was set off by a single event. What happened?
I think there was a witch burning. Yeah, first in over 100 years, the spirit wardens declared a member of the disenfranchised a witch and burned them in front of the sanctorium in Brightstone. What do you and the witch have in common?
Just
Uh,
another fellow student.
yeah, I think the witch was a friend of mine and that Veldrin the Psychonaut. So I mean, I didn't know them super well, but we were in kind of the same social circle. Uh,
Do you have a name for this witch?
uh, let's see. Let's go with Finn.
Finn the witch. And 'cause I coughed in the middle of that. Well, how are they connected to Veldrin again?
I think we were acquaintances, and Finn was a friend of my Psychonaut friend, so we were kind of in the same social circles at university.
Okay. Jeez, wonder how they got caught up in this spirit warden mess. Jeez. Um. And finally, to Tobias. Ooh, this one's interesting because then you kind of get to decide what you're gonna do, what the crew's gonna do for this. So, the flame. What opportunity does the rioting provide your crew, and what complications have the riots created?
Okay, looking at these, I'm into a smoke screen. So if we have three factions that are weakened or distracted by the riots, I think we could probably use all this chaos to leverage our own advantage. Maybe bring down a rival.
Ooh, well, all right. So I'm not going to tell you the three factions at the moment because we're going to figure that out. We're going to figure out what factions y'all have relationships with when we build up the rest of the crew. But definitely, once we've named those factions, you're going to pick one as the target, and then we're going to open, and then we'll see in play what happens. Does that sound cool?
Excellent.
All right.
The
So
latter, gentlemen.
I'll be fine. You're not gonna like. I'll tell you right now. I'm not gonna put you to score against a tier 4 or 5 group unless your characters want to pick a fight with the Spirit Wardens or what else? What's a tier 4? The Spark Rights or the Ministry of Preservation. Yeah, don't pick a fight
Yeah,
with them.
maybe there's another sad gang who also live in the sewers who are already weak and have become weakened. I think that may be more our pay grade.
Yeah,
We'll see how
that's
long that lasts.
Yeah, that's kind of how most campaigns with Blade start. It feels like you pick on the other sad gangs, the no longer sad gang, and you pick on the other not sad gangs. All right, so back to crew creation. So we got the tenor of what's happening. The Leviathan hunters are rioting because of a witch burning, and y'all are gonna try and get a leg up on the world as that's happening. So, where do you think in Duskwall is your lair situated? We say like you're in a half sunken grotto, underground canals. Um, they recommend usually like those 3 districts in the middle. I'm gonna ping them. So either the Docks, Crowsfoot, or Char Hollow. Crowsfoot is kind of like the district most known for street gangs, like open criminal activity. But it's up to y'all if you think you should be at Silk Shore. I can figure out a way, but like the middle ones are kind of like the most crime heavy. So you'd be like there'll be other those are where the sad gangs would be.
Yeah, I like the sound of Char Holo just because it has the best name. But
Yeah, Charhola is pretty cool because that's kind of where like the all the slum tenements of Duskwall are sort of gathered there. It and Coleridge are kind of the 2 lowest income districts. So in the sense of having our actions covered by these riots, they kind of do make a certain kind of sense.
okay, so we not only live in the low rent district, we live in a sewer underneath the low rent district.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, like it's a growth industry, so
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
We need a painful investment, if you know what I mean, and
Yeah,
on the up and
yeah.
up.
We'll be on the upper. Also, that little fenced area there that I just pinged, that's the house of Lord Strangford.
Yeah, screw that guy.
Yeah, who your friend Colin might not be so happy about. All right, so that's where you're situated. But then you're gonna tell me your hunting grounds. So your crew is brand new. Well, I should mention reading from the book. Your crew is brand new, but you've chosen some small part of a district as your hunting grounds. This is the area that you usually target for your scores, and you know it well. So your hunting grounds don't have to be in the same district as your lair. Like, the area is small, only 3 or 4 city blocks, but it's still an intrusion into someone. And the city is divided into like larger, stronger factions. And once you tell me like where your hunting grounds are, and I'll tell you what faction claims that area, and then I'm gonna ask you how are your relations with that faction. So, I should have mentioned as well. Your crew begins with 2 coin. I should put that in the. Let's see, where is the coin? There we go. 2 measly coin.
Yeah, so the hunting grounds thing suggests one of 4 different activities as like our sort of primary bread and butter score. So either burglary, espionage, robbery, or sabotage. I could lean towards espionage or sabotage, but really any one of those makes sense. Honestly, they make sense for different characters as well. I mean, we've got a technically minded individual, a head cracker, and sort of sneaky scout sniper. So a little bit of everything here, I feel like.
Yeah, in terms of what was that, sabotage and espionage, I feel like no one's got anything worth stealing where we are, but we're also not big league enough to tackle anywhere like that might be better defended. How about we operate on the docks because a lot of stuff coming in and out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like we, a small up and coming gang could maybe get their start there. Who knows what valuable stuff's coming through there, be it goods or information.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so let's see which faction controls the dock area, and feel free to jump in, Charles, if you have a suggestion because you played out. I say right now, I've run Forged in the Dark before. This is actually the first time I'm running the OG Forged in the Dark game, Blades in the Dark. All right, so the big faction there will be the Leviathan Hunters. They kind of control the place, but they're tier 5. They're way above.
Right.
So, yeah.
Over to you, Leandro, but it may be useful to split the Leviathan Hunters into kind of like, because like the tier 5 Leviathan Hunters, I assume to be like Lord Strangford's, funded personal militia or whatever.
Yeah. Well, this group that's
right.
causing the riots will be a smaller group.
Right. So there's also the Sailors, I think, as a faction, which they may not have a full write-up necessarily, but they're probably the actual rioters. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There is an actual faction called Sailors. So I think that's what you'll be going with. But let me double check. There is a lot of like really cool factions in this game.
Yeah, you got to narrow it. You got to narrow the list to start.
Yeah. Let's go with the Sailors.
Sure.
So yeah, they control the docks, and for sure they're like, Leviathan Hunters are kind of like they're special. They provide the fuel that the city runs together, but they're still ordinary sailors. They're the ones really controlling the docks, at least for your purposes. Like so you got 3 choices in how you decide to deal with them in your hunter grounds. Either you pay them off, so give them 1 coin right now in exchange for giving you room to work. Pay the faction 2 coin as a show of respect, and you gain a +1 status with them, or keep your money and take a -1 status. So which of those 3 is more likely for your crew to have done?
I would like to lobby for at least 1 coin because this is presumably the faction that Colin leads. They are the sort of active revolution or rioters here. Even just being sailors, I see that they're technically tier 3 weak, which is pretty strong. So I definitely don't want to be -1 status with them to start. Maybe we can go just 1 coin, be at 0 status, and then work our way up with them during the course of the riots, which would be reasonable, I think.
I'm Kyle.
I prefer not to give them 2 coin, so 1 coin works for me.
Yeah, I feel like Tobias, as a sort of former bouncer, doesn't have a lot of time for sailors, which tend to cause trouble. But also knows which way the wind is blowing. So, yeah, I think pay them what we can afford. Give them the 1 coin.
Cool.
Sounds great.
So that's you're down to 1 coin. There we go. All right. So the next is a special ability. So you've got a list there on the crew sheet. Give you a moment to look through them and see which one interests the crew most.
Second story is very tempting. Everyone's deals is so good, especially for a shorter campaign because it lets us dive into more actions generally. So everyone's deals is a really strong one. When you roll Entangle and Slippery is nifty, but makes more sense over a longer campaign, I feel. Synchronized, yeah, that may not always work for us. I really like everyone's deals or second story.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's deals looks like a sort of good basic one. Second story does look kind of fun though, on the basis that infiltration, it's always tense. Anything that would help is good.
But at the same time, we're a very diverse group as far as shadows go. We don't even have like a like archetypical like second story person like a lurk, or what is that? What are they called in this?
Yeah, they're lurk. They're lurks.
Lurk, right? I always
The-
forget what the
the-
base playbooks are called in Blades. So I feel like even though we are shadows, I don't know that we can guarantee that we'll always be taking the infiltration approach, because every once in a while, I think Tobias is just going to be like, why don't we just break down the front door? And honestly, I would go along with that. but if that happens a few times, or we try to talk our way in, if I sneak our way in, or anything at all different to the norm, then we're losing out on that second story bonus. It seems so focused. So I really do feel everyone's deals as the most general purpose help us out in a lot of diverse ways, kind of.
What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, everyone's steal sounds good to me.
Cool. All right, so I think everyone's agreed. So yeah, each PC may add +1 action rating to either Prowl, Finesse, or Tinker, which is terribly useful. Up to a max of 3.
I'm going to put a dot in Finesse to round out my ability suite, because I didn't have any before. Although it was tempting to go to 3 in Prowl.
Yeah, most of the abilities are fairly self-explanatory, but what is finesse exactly?
Great question. That is, I find that to be one of the most often asked questions as far as the actions go in Blades. So I'll pitch this to Leandro because I want to hear his answer. I want to.
Well, I was gonna cheat and just hold over. You see, if you hold over your mouse over the words, there's usually an explanation from the book. So finesse is like trying to be subtle. Finesse an item from someone's pocket, subtle misdirection, say on hand. It is about. Yeah, it is tricky because it is right there. It's sleight of hand. It's misdirection. It's like trying to do things delicately. Let's say. So it's kind of like the opposite of it's the opposite of smashing things for sure.
Yeah, I don't have any points in finesse.
Yeah. But you can certainly do Prowl if you want to ambush people or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how many dots should we have? By the way, you said we had more experience.
He added them to our XP bars, so we actually don't have anything more, I don't think, than we ordinarily do yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we are we're like halfway on each of our XP bars to start with, which is a very interesting little twist. I kind of like it.
Yeah, well, it just comes from experience. I've run some like four or 5 part Forge in the Dark stuff in the Gauntlet, and there's just not enough time to get XP to even like get a few advances. So I just took a page from Lowell's book and just like, all right, everyone starts at half XP, and most of the time the complication will be you'll end up in a desperate situation because it's fun. It'll get you XP. All right, so that's your special ability. Up next are crew upgrades. So you got 2 upgrades to start off by default. Your lair is hidden, so that means if anyone comes a knocking, they're gonna have a tough time trying to find y'all. And you have training in prowess. That mostly comes to downtime. Basically, that means like when you do the training downtime activity to your prowess, you get 2 XP instead of 1, and you get 2 additional upgrades. So you have a total of 4 at start. The upgrades are those boxes like lair, quality, training. Those boxes usually mean like the amount of times you can get that upgrade. You also have shadow specific upgrades in that gray box over there next to like cohort and whatnot. And I'll tell you what those mean if you all ask, specifically for those who don't quite know.
Thief rigging is great because it gives you easy access to more equipment than you normally can hold. I really like the idea of maybe, just a suggestion, having a boat, since we're already in a half-sunken grotto and the docks are kind of our target. A boat gives us a lot of flexibility for like maneuvering through the underground waterways of Duskwall, which is sweet.
Amphibious operations. I like it.
Yeah.
Get a boat.
Let's get a boat. Put a boat in it.
All right.
Yeah.
Kyle, are you okay with a boat?
Yeah, that sounds good. That takes both stress boxes, or
No, just the one.
If we take the second one, I think our boat is even better, basically.
Yes,
It's like
basically.
a quality of life upgrade. So we can spread it around still.
Yes, basically, yeah. You have a boat, a dock, and a waterway, and a small shack to store boating supplies. A second upgrade improves the boat with armor and more cargo capacity. But the first box basically means you have the boat. Second box means your boat's better. All right. So, oh, hey, if you press those buttons, those arrows, you can actually see the explanation, huh?
Hmm.
So, should realize that. Thanks to, I should like. All right, cool. So that's one upgrade. You have another one. You can pick. Let's see. It's not just listed there. Why not? What one of those is calling out to either you, like to let's see.
The shadow upgrades look so good, either thief rigging or underground maps and passkeys.
Both look pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, underground maps is kind of sexy to me, but yeah, thief rigging also looks very practical.
Yeah.
They both look so good.
All right. All right. I'll pick thief rigging and thief. So thief rigging and a boat. Sounds good. So when you assign your two upgrades, the GM will tell you about two factions that are impacted by your choices. So one faction help you get an upgrade. They like you, and you get +1 status with them. I'm gonna make it so that you got your boat through some nice people called the gondoliers.
That
They
makes
have
total sense.
the Guild of Canal Boat Operators. They have some old traditions, but they found some stuff in the murk or in the dusk or whatever they're calling that. So yeah, I think they'll give you a +1 status with them. You can spend a coin to get +2 status with them, but you don't have to. +1 status, +1 sounds fine. Let me see, where are they? The gondoliers.
You mean,
Here there. Cool.
like in general, Charles, would you say it's better to like spend money if you have it, or is it a good idea to hold on to some?
This one starting coin, it's more interesting, I think, to spend it at the start because our first thing is probably going to be a score to get us more coin, and it just puts us on better fictional ground or positioning with certain a faction ultimately. So saving it at this point isn't super beneficial down the road, I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say the other upgrade you get, another faction will be impacted by that, and they're gonna be pissed off. Let's see, who did you annoy to get some more thief rigging? Let's see.
Maybe one
Yeah,
of
it's
these
probably
underworlds.
yeah, no, definitely another gang for sure. Let's go with the crows. Are you
Oh gosh, the
an old gang?
crows.
Yeah.
You got to make us -1 with the crows to start, Leandro.
Oh, do you like the crows? I mean, you can be friends with the crows if you want.
No, I got no particular opinions about the crows, other than the fact that they're one of the stronger underworld factions, and
They're
they kind
tier
of
two. Come
yeah,
on. You'd
they
be fine.
technically run crow's foot, so there's that.
Oh, actually, yeah. If they technically run crow's foot, maybe we'll pick something else. Actually,
No,
since
no,
you're
no,
on
no. Like
team-
I want to emphasize, it's a great choice for you as the
Okay,
GM. And
okay,
it's a
all right.
dramatic choice. Like, don't change your mind. I'm grumbling in character.
Yeah, and also
Um,
we have a powerful enemy. That's probably why we live it in a hidden
It-
place in the sewers.
Yeah, it certainly helps. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to say that we should leave the crows at -1 and just enjoy that delicious
Oh, you start with a
conflict. That'll
minus.
be fun.
You start with a -2, and then you can pay coins.
Oh
plus
no,
or
the
minus.
worst. Awesome.
So
Okay,
are you gonna
well,
spend a coin to bump it up to a -1?
Or we could make really good friends with the gondoliers.
yeah. I like really good friends with the gondoliers. Let's have strong allies and strong enemies. Why not, right?
Okay.
Live our best lives, as it were.
Okay, so that's your one coin gone. You're not down to no coins, but yeah, you're friends with the gondoliers and big enemies with the crows. All right, so the last thing for this crew go-to sheet is choosing a favorite contact. So you've got potential contacts. It's a close friend, longtime ally, partner in crime of the crew. They're usually how you get scores and whatnot. There's like a list of names in the crew sheet. Obviously, feel free to make up your own. But if any of those names or professions speak out to you all, feel free to chime in. Then no, there are just names. We'll flesh them out as we get to know them. But yeah, which one of those interests y'all?
Oh. Like, what sort of person would we want for the sort of operations that we be planning to pull on the docks, right? Like, what sort of person would we want for that? Like, I mean, a tavern owner is pretty straightforward. I mean, we probably all know people like that.
Yeah. Is it possible, Tobias, that you have LaRose as a as a contact from your ex Bluecoat days?
That is a good point. Maybe, yeah, maybe an old friend who still passes me on some news sometimes. Maybe warns me.
That would be interesting, only from the perspective of letting us play kind of both sides of the riot situation in a weird way.
No, it's noir. I like it. So yeah, that's a neat idea.
Cool. All right, so we'll go with LaRose. We'll flesh them out. But the one thing they do is that two more factions are going to be impacted by your choice. One of them is going to be friendly with your contact, and one of them is going to be unfriendly with your contact. I think. Okay, I'm gonna ask you this, Tobias, since you're friends, this is your kind of contact. Do you think this bloke, well, this person, LaRose, do you think the blue coats would like them, or do you think they wouldn't like them?
Uh, I mean, they wouldn't like them talking to me, but I feel Tobias is getting on a bit. I imagine someone he's friends with is probably a bit of a veteran, like someone who's maybe sort of settled in the job for a while. I imagine them meeting up. They're both sort of iron gray hair, drinking whatever sort of foul rum is available, and just talking about how the job isn't easy like it used to be. These new gangs, they got no honor, that kind of thing.
All right, I think because they're settled in the blue coats, I think I'll make them. I'll make the blue coats kind of. They think they're actually. Yes, I think they like LaRose. So yeah, you're gonna have a +1 with the blue coats.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
How are you gonna play with that? I know.
yes, that's interesting. Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also another gang your don't like your contact, and I'm almost tempted to just feck it. Let's keep connecting all these blue coats. There is a gang of former blue coats called the
Oh.
Gray Cloaks who've turned to crime. I think they probably don't like your friend LaRose because LaRose is trying to play both sides, and the Gray Cloaks kind of feel like if they feel like if you're gonna be a criminal, be a criminal, that sort of thing. If that makes sense.
Bunch
All
of
right.
posers. If you want to quit the lawmaking life, just make it a clean break. Don't hang around cosplaying in gray cloaks. Not
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah. Jerks.
Cool.
Get your
All
own.
right. All right. So that's a -1 with the Gray Cloaks. All right. Cool. So we've got our crew, we've got our situation, we've got our characters. We've been here for like nearly an hour. So I'm gonna say let's take a break about 8 minutes long. We'll come back in the half-hour mark, and then yeah, we're just gonna open up and see where y'all at as these riots begin. So be back in 8 minutes.
All right.
Sounds good.
Guys, then.
All right, looks like everyone's back.
And we're back.
Yeah, give me a second while I write some very quick notes. Ba, 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 ba. Because there's still one last part of that question from the score that we need to settle, and ask you that in a moment, Patsy. But first, uh, I'll just read from the score from Duskwall Riots of 847. Doskvol is constantly on the brink of explosion. Prisoners forced to mine the mire, Deathland scavenger facing horrors of all kinds, unions in Coleridge broken up by factory foremen and their brutes, nobles enjoying every excess on the backs of citizens. It's only a matter of time before the match struck oil and ignited the city, and now the riots are upon us, as illustrated by all the fire JPEGs I've very elegantly put in the map. Um,
Love it.
should put some more. Give me a second. All right, there we go. There we go.
Oh, that's too
Bit
many.
more. Uh, yeah, it started. It kind of stemmed from Brightstone. That's where the witch burning started. But like, I think the docks should be like, well, not fully covered. But like, yeah. So that fire kind of denote where the riot is spreading, and it will probably keep spreading as we go along. So before I kind of like give Patsy a few more choices, I kind of want to get a snapshot of like it says here, like, yeah, in the score, last night, you were woken by shouting in the street, torches lit, and the crack of a gunshot. You all didn't pick quarters for your lair, so nobody lives in your lair, um, for sure. So I kind of want to get a snapshot of each of your characters waking up to these riots, and what did they see as folks, as y'all kind of like scramble to get your bearings. Um, and we'll say, yeah, the riot is going to spread from the docks, dragging through Crow's Foot and into Char Hollow. Um, so yeah, give a moment to think about that. But once people has an idea of like when kind of like when the camera kind of cuts to your character, um, I kind of want to know like what do they look like? What are they doing when the riots started, and what did they see of the riots?
Okay, I could go. Right, because Tobias is kind of between jobs at the moment. I imagine his current living situation is those Victorian like hotel situations, except it's just a chair that you sit in a row with a bunch of other people, and they put a rope that you can all kind of lean on. And when they want to wake you up in the morning, they untie the rope and you all fall over.
Oh yeah, God.
Uh, so So yeah, basically he's sleeping it off in a place like that. Someone yells fire, everyone wakes up, gets tangled in the rope, crashes into each other, goes out into the street to see what's up. Yeah, the camera would focus on Tobias himself, who's about 5'6" tall and probably like 4'6" wide. Outweighs many taller men. His face is sort of shiny and hairless, continually sweaty. He has, a whole bunch of like stick and poke tattoos of sort of anchors, mermaids, all kind of like washed out looking and a bit misshapen. He looks like he's seen some bad times. The clothes that he always wears because he's had to pawn all the rest of them for drinking money. So he's got like some gross leather trousers. He's got a leather vest with all studs on it. Basically, this would have looked super intimidating or super fetishy, but it's very kind of heavily mended by now. He looks like a man who needs a break. And yeah, he stumbles on one asleep leg out into the street, sees the district of Char Hollow. I guess if the fire has spread this far, he'd see a bunch of ragged citizens like trying to get a bucket thing going between the nearest well or the nearest canal and the fires going one direction, and a whole bunch of like filthy children running the other way to try and get things out of any of the abandoned dwellings.
Cool.
So yeah, scene of chaos.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to say the fire isn't literal. Like it's just where the riot just spread. But if there's like actual fires, that's gonna be rough for the folks who have to take care of that.
I mean, if there's chaos, someone's probably lighting some fires.
That
Yeah,
is true.
I definitely feel it.
That's true. All right. So that's where Tobias is at the moment. What about the other two? When like the camera cuts to either of you.
I think we see the inside of Kellen's, which is described as one of the oldest pubs in the city, with a dizzying selection of Scotlander ales and whiskies. Um, Rich and poor alike rub elbows here to enjoy the traditional food and music with their drinks, though recently the pub has become the target of masked anti-Scotlander bigots who vandalized the property and assaulted some patrons, shouting, "No scobs and scobs go home." I think Kellen's, at the moment that the camera cuts in, is actually in a quiet bit. We don't have the anti-Scotlander bigots haven't shown up this particular night. And we see sort of one of the inner drawing rooms of Kellen's where there's a card game going on. And Selkalla is slouched against a table with some greasy poker cards held under her, outstretched hand. And there's someone dealing out another round when the front of Kellen's lights up suddenly with a illuminated flame from outside as people start throwing Molotov cocktails or something outside. And I think that there's a scuffle out front as some of the rioters meet with basically these Akarosian, I guess, supremacists who are, trying to raise havoc using the confusion of the riots. And so I think we see Selkalla get up and step to a darkened corner of the drawing room where she grabs a long rifle that she had leaning there next to the the pool cues. Like I set my long rifle in the pool cue rack, and she draws her cloak up around her and glances out the front while the proprietor of the poker table and the other people sort of like scatter around, and some of them rush to the front to like participate in this fight that's broken out, and some of them are just exiting out the back of the pub here.
Nice. All right. And last but not the least, Mara. How are you doing? We can't hear you, Kyle, for some reason. Yep. Yeah. Oh, I heard with you. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
There we go.
I think Mara was at a bar with some friends on the a bunch of other former a poor student bar that's edging into a criminal bar. Just sort of hanging out with some friends when the people come around oh hey, there's a riot going on over there. Some kind of something about press ganging or something. People are all worked up, and yeah, I just kind of go out to drift along the edges, just see what all the fuss is and what's happening.
Yeah, and I think as you kind of see the fuss, I think the three of you will kind of filter through the information of what's happening. That basically the sailors of the docks have some who work for the Leviathan hunters, some who some who are kind of called from other ships. Most of them do kind of are on the contract for Lord Strangford, working their Nightbreaker ship, have started rioting, and it's kind of set off a chain of events that have kind of caught up most of the docks, half of Crowsfoot, and it's also edging towards Brightstone and yes, that is Brightstone. Sorry, I had to move a bit of fire out of the way. Brightstone and Char Hollow, and that a witch burning, the first in 100 years, that's kind of precipitated that fight. Now, here's the question that I asked Patsy, and I'm gonna finish the question. I think y'all kind of get this info as you kind of move to bandy up, to get together as a crew. there's basically like three factions that are weakened or distracted by the riots at the moment, and opportunities there. Um, so here are the three factions. So first up, the Crows are quite distracted because it's this nonsense is leaching into their district, and they've already had so many things to worry about. Like they don't have a leadership at the moment; they're in the middle of a leadership scuffle, and now they're half their districts on fire. So they're kind of a bit distracted by that. Um, the second faction are a group called the Fog Hounds. They're like a small time smuggler group. We're kind of in the middle of. They want to get big, but they don't have like a patron yet at the moment. They're veterans of many cruises on the Void Sea. You kind of know that, like, all right, they have a steamship for one thing. They're tier 1, but they have a steamship. You folks only have like a gondola boat. What's up with that? You know that they're veterans in terms of smuggling. They're kind of like parallel to you. They're also but you're thieves, but they're smugglers, but they're kind of like you're kind of like parallel to each other. They're trying to like gain their territory, but for right now, their steamship is kind of trapped at the moment because riots are happening for sure. And the last bit, the third group are the Grinders. They're a vicious gang of former dockers and Leviathan blood refinery workers. They're kind of in the main thing about this. A lot of them is from where you are, Selkalla. Part of the reason why the anti-Skovland group hasn't been around your area, around Kellen's, is because they've kind of like a lot of them are kind of using like the riots or get caught in the riots to like pin the Grinders down or like just kind of move into their territory. So there's already a lot of confusion in this riots. A lot of people are using are kind of thinking of what you lot are doing and that using it as a smoke screen for their own for their own purposes, for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, I want to know then from, and actually, you know what? Let's put this discussion like in character because I know like technically, Patsy, you have the final say according to this question, but like, let's put you all in your lair and have these like you have these like three opportunities, for sure, and have a think about them. Let's actually sketch out your lair a bit. So it says half sunken grotto. Let's paint the scene a bit. Each of you can give me a detail about your lair. It could be like something your character added, or it's just it's a nice little detail about the place as your characters kind of like walk in. That sound cool?
Awesome.
Right. Okay. So if anyone's an idea, feel free to jump in.
So as we're moving in on the lair, I think we see Selkalla. I kind of want to cut in the moment of her like unmooring the boat that we have. Like I'm actively running the rigging on it and getting it ready to move because I know that we need to act quickly. We've been looking for opportunities to move, right? We're a newly established crew, presumably. We've been looking for opportunities to take action, and this is the night, right? Like maximum covers, total chaos. There's going to be no blue coat investigations until like something that goes missing, perhaps if we were to enact that because they're too busy dealing with the riots and the fallout. Like we know that this Selkalla knows intuitively this is the moment, so no prompting from anyone. I'm already like trying to get the boat ready to roll.
Nice.
There is a clang from somewhere up above as a manhole cover is moved, and a sort of very round, dense man plummets down a ladder. Splashes in a puddle. Can we say our lair is actually like a sort of a side chamber, like off a sewers that might have at some point had something flowing through it? I like the idea of it having a sort of rounded wall, not really designed for people to live there, but like we've dragged some ratty old armchairs and stuff in there that we found somewhere, just to basically sit and have a mafia style sit down if necessary.
I like it.
And taking a swig from his emergency flask, which he keeps under a loose stone under his own particular armchair. Tobias staggers over to the edge of the water. Yep, good thinking, Selkalla. In some language or other, crisis is the same thing as an opportunity.
Selkalla wordlessly throws you a line, which probably hits you in the face.
Yeah, the hand is extended, ready to catch, but it's right back.
It's like bonk.
He just woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Mara comes rushing in with like bags thrown over like both shoulders, like carrying all the gear they've got with her. Just like, hey, we're doing something tonight, right? I kind of had a feeling we'd be doing something.
Yes. So Selkalla is going to. I'm trying to think of a different like non-verbal thing to do here, but I'm coming up short. I think. Oh man, I think Selkalla, gives a thumbs up from like face down, like I'm digging through like a chest in the back of the boat that's got like all of our rigging, and there's like this dense tangle of lines laying around as I'm trying to like unscrew whatever thing happens to the boat recently. It's probably like caught cobwebs and stuff that it's like the boat's been gathering dust in here. So like I'm too focused, but there's like the yes sort of kind of thumbs up.
Well, I brought my stuff, all my stuff, so ready for anything.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's the question, isn't it? Who do we want to hit? The crows, they've had it too good for too long. Or could we, let me see.
Selkalla comes up with like a big bundle of rigging, and then it's all like rotted out, and you can see it's like moth eaten and stuff. And she walks to the edge and she just drops it into the water and just lets it sink because it's like completely done. And then she says, "I've got word that the gondoliers are stagnant north on the line. We can probably move up on them and take their little boat from them. Just a thought." And she like goes back into the chest looking for unmolested rigging that she can use.
Yeah, who was it who had the steamship? Was that
Oh, that's the Fog Hounds.
Fog Hounds?
Yeah, Fog Hounds.
Yeah,
Sorry, I said gondoliers. That's not what I meant. Yeah, I meant the Fog Hounds for sure.
Yeah, and at the mention of them, Tobias would stop pacing up and down the boat, making it sway left and right, and say, "That's it. Yes, that could work." Because they think they're high and mighty with their boat.
I would like to get my hands on a nice steam engine.
Is it possible, Leandro, to flash back to Selkalla gathering information about what the Fog Hounds were trying to smuggle when this all broke out and overtook them?
Sure. Yeah. Tell me, what does the flashback entail? What do we see Selkalla doing?
Yeah, I think that the scene here is her sitting on a sort of lookout perch above one of the waterways, and maybe it's like somewhere in Silkshore, which I feel like is one of the illicit smuggling like inroads of the city. The other big one being Night Market, probably. And you see her like taking a swig from a flask of water or like a drinking skin because she's on the job, right? And down below we can sort of see there's like this rendezvous taking place where a small jetty boat, not like the Fog Hounds main ship, but this like little embarking boat that they're on. The leader of the Fog Hounds is like conversing with somebody, and they're exchanging money or instructions or something, and I'm sort of like spying on their future action.
Cool. All right. So you see their leader. Her name is Margeth Vale. And you can tell things are kind of tense because they're sending their leader out to do this job.
Right.
I'll say, all right. I'll say this is no stress. This is something this totally could have been doing. So there's no stress for the flashback itself, but you're going to have to make an action roll to see how well you did. I'll explain how action rolls work for the two who've not played it when they start rolling. For you, Selkalla, you know how action rolls work. But I think this is a risky standard. What action rating are you using? Actually, I should ask that first.
I think prowl. The idea being that I've been shadowing these. Either prowl or hunt actually both work. They're both 2 dots for me, so it's kind of immaterial.
Yeah,
The idea being that I've been tracking the movements of the Fog Hounds for some time, in an effort to like locate an opportunity.
cool. So I think both would work, and they're both risky standard for sure.
Okay.
Do you want to push yourself or take a devil's bargain?
Yeah. So this is a full action roll, not even a gather info fortune, which is very interesting.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. No, I do kind of like. There's an element of risk here. I think that's why.
That's
I
cool.
know it's
That's
kind of
cool.
gather information, but
Well, I do have the scout ability, which says that when I hide in a prepared position or use camouflage, I get +1d to rolls to avoid detection. So if I'm prowling here, could I potentially benefit from that bonus?
yeah, I'll give you that extra die.
All right. In that case, 3 dice on the risky. I think I'm going to not push or do anything else, unless you have a bargain. But I don't know. There's
Yeah, I don't think I have a bargain at the moment.
That's fine. I think I'll go with just my regular bonus that I just happen to have here for this.
Cool.
So 1 bonus die, risky standard, prowl. It's a 5.
5. 5's good. On a 4 to 5, you get good detail. You'll get what you're looking for, basically. Obviously there'll be some complication there. Let me double check something. Oh geez. Aha. All right. So there's gonna be a consequence for sure, but you get what you're looking for. So you get in close. You hear Margette, who's quite quiet. I think that's the thing. You have to get in quite a bit closer to hear her speak.
Sure.
She speaks in a soft sort of voice. A soft but cold voice, and what you hear is basically they're selling like some very pertinent information that they just got at the moment. They found a new smuggling route up north. It's uncharted territory. I think there's still a quiet bit of desperation in her voice that when you get close, you hear it, and it's like, I tell you, this route, no one else has used this. It's only known to us, and I can vouch for it here. And I think they'll even show like a bit of a map to like whoever they're talking to. You can't really see, and I think. And I think they're like, yeah, only we know this. And I'd like to think that there would be some value in a route that, well, the City Watch wouldn't have as big a knowledge of. So that's kind of what you get. Now, here is the complication. I think I mean, you came in here to like get what you want, but I think what the complication is going to happen is you don't know how they did it, but like whoever she's talking to suddenly kind of like looks over their shoulder, and you feel this like gimlet sort of gaze straight on you, and you can feel like their eyes somehow like kind of penetrating through the darkness, and you can tell that they can see you.
And this is the individual that they're talking to, or
yes, the person they're talking to. Yes.
Creepy and potentially supernatural. Dislike immensely.
Yeah, I think if you don't mind, that will like end the flashback. Maybe like
sure. Yeah, it works.
Eyes, and you have the scarper, but like yeah, the main thing you'll get is like that's kind of like the most viable thing that like Margette Vale is trying to sell off. This like uncharted virgin smuggling route.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's I was hoping for material goods, but this one has this one certainly offers opportunity. The only problem is that if we manage to get it off of them, now two people know the route, and so it becomes less valuable to both of us, really.
Ooh.
Um,
Ooh, well, I'll add a little thing, just to make it just a bit more valuable. With the way she says, it's like, yeah, she knows this route, and as far as I think she tries to tell it to the person you're talking to, like yeah, there's only one known route, and that the only route is on that map, and only she knows of it right now. She's saying specifically that only she knows of it. Like she's not even shared it to the other Fog Hound, to the rest of the Fog Hounds, for sure.
well, that throws a wrench in my idea because I
What's
was
your
kind of
idea?
hoping that there would be something we could raid off of them, but it sounds like
Okay.
they're just fishing for customers at this point.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
point of order. I mean, while it might be less valuable if two people know a secret smuggling route, what if one of those groups has just had the engine stolen out of their fancy boat? Maybe they won't be able to use it that much for a while. Could be some sort of two-pronged initiative.
Yeah. I really like the Fog Hounds as a target, given that they're kind of operating the same domain that we are. So yeah.
Is that what Selkalla says to the other two?
Yeah, not as mechanistic as that, but Selkalla says these guys have been controlling the smuggling routes in and out of the city for too long. I think it's time that we show them that there's a competitor.
That's right. It's good thinking. You were looking sort of far away for a second there, but I'm glad to see you're back on point.
Yeah, always tracking the angle. Selkalla is.
Okay, Tobias starts buckling on a sort of leather fighting helmet, kind of like a rugby scrum cap, in preparation for the necessaries. His eyes are looking a bit more focused, a bit less bleary. Yeah, so what would our heading be?
Well, let me cut in here for a moment and just kind of lay out mechanistically where we are. You're right before score. So there's still some time to gather some information about this score. And I'll say right now, just be nice. This is technically like laying claim to a claim. If you see, there's a map there on your crew sheets. Let's say, like, if you execute the score, you're gonna gain some turf, for sure. And turf's fun because it means you have less rep that you can get to upgrade your crew tier, so to speak. But that's other thing entirely. So right now you're in right before a score. You're kind of like in the gather information phase.
You mean to say this wouldn't be like secret pathways potentially?
Ooh, it could be. Wait, where is secret pathways? Oh, well,
it's the bottom right one. Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's more distantly connected, which I know there's like actually a rule for that if you grab something that's not
Yeah,
connected.
like
Yeah.
you have to get to it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're starting from your lair, and
maybe it's closer
yeah,
to like covert drops or something.
ooh, yeah. I mean, I'll say right now, if you complete the score, you can get either one of the four that's next to the lair, because you're targeting a rival crew amidst this chaos, and you're kind of like showing dominance by stealing their valuables, which includes their engines, apparently. Well, you've got a boat for that. It'll be fine. So yeah, so you're at the period now where you can like gather info. One thing we didn't firm up. So Charles mentioned that there are four types that the Shadows crew, four types of scores that the Shadows crew are good at. You're gonna have to pick you will have to pick one of those four to see what your preferred operation is. So if you look at hunting grounds on the crew sheet, there's burglary, espionage, robbery, and sabotage, which is kind of like your preferred operation there. You'll get extra stuff when you execute scores of that. And I know I should have probably firmed this up before we start doing a score, because now it'll be like, oh, we're doing sabotage. Let's pick sabotage. I'm fine with
I mean,
that.
I think that's a totally reasonable approach to take on it. Is like let the players choose the thing that they're immediately going to do, and then just maybe that retroactively state that that's been our racket this whole time.
Cool. All right. So would folks be okay with sabotage then?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I don't know how to mark that on this sheet. I will just say, well, I'm just going to make it in capital letters. Sabotage. There we go. Sabotage. Okay, cool. So we are kind of like, yeah, we're in the gather information phase right before the score. So this is kind of like akin to what Selkalla did there, except these aren't really like flashbacks. This is just like what are you doing before uh, before you start the score. So this is like trying to find info um, on what they're doing and what their ships are, what the situation is. This is usually like framed by like whatever action rating you're gonna roll, and depending on the circumstance, usually there'll be no risk. Sometimes there will be risk, sometimes there won't be. Most of the time there isn't, especially if you're like talking to contacts about information and whatnot. So does anyone have an idea of like what are they doing to prepare? Um,
I mean, I've already done my thing, so I'll take the background on this one.
Yeah, if I'm checking out the competition, I might want to go talk to LaRose, and I'd probably, in fact, maybe the previous night I was drinking with him, complaining about my lack of jobs, and
Uh-oh.
there'd be stuff I guess I would want to know about Fog Hounds, because that sort of competition is not healthy. We need to hit the ground running unless they're stop them sort of getting past us. So I'd want to know stuff like, well, where's their base? Where might they keep anything of importance? Do they have any particularly tough customers who they're likely to leave guarding? I don't know. Their maps, their boats. So yeah, basically I would just sort of shake him a little bit and see what he knows about these guys that maybe I don't. If the Bluecoats have had any trouble with them, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think LaRose is kind of like when we flash back to this scene. They're not into as many cups as you are, but they kind of like do a dainty. Oh, we lost. That's a weird configuration. Oh no, we lost Charles. Let me see. Oh, they'll be back. Yeah, I put the streamer link in the Roll20. Yeah, Charles LaRose is kind of like Fog Hounders, eh? Shouldn't you be like aiming for something a bit bigger?
Look, nits will be lice, my old friend. You got to stamp out the little threats, and then you spread out, and then you spread up. It's like a tree in a forest with all little. Look, the point is they've got a better boat than us, and they've been driving it past, and we hear the horn that they play. The point is they're getting a little too big for their boots, and wouldn't you rather have someone working on the docks who you have a bit of a relationship with, rather than these loose cannon foghounds? You know what I mean?
Okay, this is where you make the roll.
Okay, let's talk rolling.
All right, cool. So those dots represent D6s, basically. You're not going to see it because it's Roll20, but basically whenever you make an action roll in Blades in the Dark, you are building a dice pool.
Okay.
And you'll tell me what action rating you're rolling, how it fits the scenario, and usually I'd give you position and effect. For here, position and effect doesn't matter because this is like a flashback, gather information. There's no risk. But once we get into the score, position and effect, I'll explain further. But for now, you don't have to worry about that. Normally I'd ask like what action rating you're rolling, but since this is kind of like your first roll, this sounds like a consort. You're talking to friends.
I was going to say hunt because I'm gathering information about a
location. Yeah, I'll let you have that as well. Because there's no risk here. This is just what are we called a fortune roll, which is basically we just roll to see how good the information you get is, and whether you get a follow up question or whatnot. So I'm good with hunt. So to roll here in Roll20, just click the button, click the word hunt, and when it asks for position effect, you can put whatever because it doesn't matter for this roll because it is only a fortune roll.
Fortune roll, yeah.
Yeah, and then no bonus dice, I don't think.
Yeah, I've got one dot in it.
Yeah,
so
that'll be fine. Yes. And then
effect.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because it's a fortune roll.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, position mechanically, what it does is that it determines how bad things go if you roll the mix or a failure. That's a 5. That's a mixed success. So how it works: 1 to 3 are failures, 4 to 5 is a mixed success, and a 6 is a success.
All right.
basically. And in the context of a fortune roll, 4 to 5 is you'll get good info and you can have one follow-up question. So here's what LaRose tells you. So what exactly is you want to know about these? Honestly, Tobias, I had expected you go for some sterner stuff, but fine. What is it exactly about Fog Hounders you're looking for? Fog Hounds, sorry, not Fog Hounders.
Yeah, I keep thinking Fog Hat personally, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Listen, mate, I run my own business in my own way. All I want from you, Ducky, is if you were to maybe have to raid their place, do you know what sort of countermeasures they might have in place? Might they leave a few tough lads outside the door, that sort of thing?
I think he snorts at that. Give me a second. I will have to read some what the Fog Hounds actually do have. All right. Here we go. Well, you know about their steamship, the very imaginatively called Fog Hound.
I spit theatrically to the side at the mention of that damned steamship.
Actually, they're kind of over that way. He points to the opposite direction of where you spat. Normally, they've got, well, you know how it is with the steamships here in Duskwall. You have to go through customs and whatnot to dock that. But little birdie told me of where you might go sniffing to find their underground canal dock. Kind of like their little hidey hole, so to speak. It's not easy trying to hide a medium-sized steamship of theirs. I can point you to the direction of where the steamship will be. As for countermeasures, as for whatever they might have, they've got some tough ones in that group for sure. They're sailors. That's what they are. They've all worked in the void sea. They've done their work. Years of just harrowing, backbreaking work. I will say though, Tobias, that don't make them soldiers. Stumpy. That don't make them hardened killers. It means they've done the hard work. They've done the graft. But it ain't like they've faced, what we've faced.
Yeah, sure. Bit of steel in an alleyway, they'll go jelly-like at the knees.
Well, that's the hope. Well, that's the read, for sure. Yeah. So what you get out of that is that you know exactly where the steamship will be, in terms of countermeasures and whatnot. You can have one question. We'll give you one more.
Let me see. So yeah, we got a location for where they might be. Anyone want to drop in a useful thing that we might want to know about these guys? And sounds like they're not necessarily fighters, though. Neither.
Yeah, neither are you. If you want, there is some questions down at the very bottom of your sheet and gather information.
Yes. Okay. Just have a.
Hey, don't worry, LaRose is telling the truth. Because I saw one of his questions. Are you telling the truth? No, he likes y'all.
Okay. How can I hurt them? I mean, I like the sound of "How can I hurt them?" To be honest, they have maybe something they're particularly proud of, or something they haven't really thought of that I could take advantage of.
Well, I think he sloshes his ale a bit, for sure. You probably shouldn't do that with ale. But, he takes a sip and he says, "Are you planning to take them out of commission for a long time, Stumpy?"
Well, don't want to count my chickens, but I think there's a good chance, yeah.
Well, let me put it this way. If you can ground them for a while, and that don't mean just grounding their ship, if you can flush them out, make sure that that canal dock of theirs is if you can make sure that canal dock of theirs is won't be of much use to them, or which is just be a bit too warm for their liking. That would put them out in the open for sure.
Oh,
I mean, getting rid of grounding their ship would be a huge blow to them already. But if you want to go the extra mile,
right. Yeah, pour a little poison in the rat's hole, they come flooding out everywhere. Then you can get 'em easy. I get you. Well, you've been very helpful, LaRose. Yeah, 2 drinks over here. And he turns out his pocket. It is empty. I'll get you back next time.
I know. Listen though, Stumpy. Word of warning. There's a uh, there's a big there's a big event in Brightstone happening in the next day or two. It's gonna raise some hackles. Now, whether you want to consider that's a time to get into whatever you want to get into or a time to lie low, well, I just want you to be aware. Things are gonna get rough around here.
Stay off the streets kind of business.
Well, you and your lot don't really take to the streets, do they?
No, we walk on the scene.
That's a good line to cut then. All right. Cut to you, Mara. What are you doing to prepare for this?
So, are we just trying to steal the information about the smuggling route, or are we trying to steal their engine too, or steal the whole boat? I'm not sure what we're doing.
Oh, my vote would be damaging their ship really quite badly, and also stealing the information, if at all possible.
I'll say the information stealing mechanically will that'll get you your coin.
Yep.
Along with getting one of these map claims. I'm trying to be nice. We're only here for a short while. Blades in the Dark campaign wise. So what do you think?
I'm not really sure how to look for information about this. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, you can say again, there's contacts you can talk to. Like you got your friend who does some weird stuff. There is a lot of weird stuff in Duskwall. You can prowl around, even just survey the area. Like say you got the info that you know where the location is. You can say survey the place, or prowl, just see what's there, or you can let's see. Oh, because you're doing it your preferred operation, which is sabotage, you do get a free downtime action where you can get either assets or work on stuff that you can put towards going into this. What would Mara do to prepare? Let's start there simply.
Okay, this might be a little out there, but could I ask my psychonaut friend to try to really project and scout the place out for us?
What does this conversation look like? Where do you talk to your friend?
I think I show up at his home. Just it's not a great place, and it probably smells like all manner of narcotics and stuff. Just hey Veldrin, think I might have some work for you if you don't mind doing me a favor.
Where you're? Don't tell me you're working right now. And they kind of flick. Well, obviously they don't have blinds. They wouldn't invent blinds in this world. But they kind of peek through the curtains, and you can hear the shouting. I think you can hear clacking of horses as people coming around. It's don't tell me you're working right now, are you?
Yeah, I mean we think this will make a good distraction. Good time to do some jobs.
I can see why university wasn't good enough for you, Mara. Okay, all right, okay. Well, look, if you're gonna do this, then if I'm gonna, all right, okay. What do you need? What do you need?
Well, I mean, you're a psycho. I got some knots that need psychoed. We're going after the fog. So was the fog something?
The Fog Hounds.
The Fog Hounds, and I could really use some eyes on the place. If you don't mind doing what you do and scouting the place out for us.
I think they're for one. First off, being a psychonaut is a very well respected profession. He says this in the standing in his dingy living room, full of like, I don't know, the equivalent of Doskvol fast food tins open. It does smell food and narcotics here. And secondly, if I do this, you owe me a thing. You owe me something.
Absolutely. I mean, we go way back. I promise I will get you back for this.
Okay. All right, hold on. And he kind of like sets up some apparatus that's like, well, basically like some like some sort of smoker sort of device. He starts putting some stuff into it. Yeah, I think this is another fortune roll. So it means there's no like risk here. He's taking the risk, honestly. And let's see. I think actually I think he kind of like, all right, well, if I'm gonna do this for you, you're gonna get involved there as well. Here, yeah, you help tune this thing, and he's gonna like help get you to tune this device. So it's kind of like this clackety sort of smoker connected to like this like glass, where you can see you'll be able to see what they're gonna like psychedelically watch. And again, this is kind of a fortune roll, I'd say, using a tune.
All right.
Yeah. So you just click that. Don't worry about positioning and roll that one die.
Oh. 2.
Ooh, that's a 2. All right, cool. So I think you can see this in the glass as Belgian kind of puts this like pipe in this pipe connected to this nozzle, and he starts smoking, and he kind of like slumps on the couch and starts snoring, honestly. And you're like, okay, is he just taking a nap or is he actually doing the thing? But you can see suddenly like you can see like the mirror kind of starts showing like it's showing this like you lurching sort of vision amidst like the underground through the canals and whatnot. Oh no, there goes Charles again. Oh no. All right, we'll get them back. Sorry, they dropped out of roll 20 as well, so it's probably problems on their end. So they're kind of like you kind of make this there's this lurching sort of motion as it's like their spirit is kind of going through like the canals and whatnot, and so they're going through like underground grottos and whatnot, and then they kind of it opens up to like this like fairly dingy, slightly low level but still kind of big canal dock. And you can see the steamship, the Fog Hound there. It's a medium-sized sort of steamship. The pipes where the steam is coming out, barely scraping the top. There's at least like 2 pipes. There's quite a bit some commotion, but here's also what you see as well. You see you'll see their leader, Margette Vale, who I probably should describe because all I described is she has a soft voice. She's wearing like this battered sort of sea coat, but she doesn't have a hat. Instead, she has like this frazzled sort of black hair that doesn't look clean at all. It's like past her shoulders, and she's talking quite intently to. Okay. I was hoping Charles would hear so they could describe what Colin looks like. They're talking to this scarred sort of sailor. And you can hear through like the vision Margette saying that all right, there is Charles. I was gonna ask what you missed there, Selkalla, is that like the vision that Veldrin is seeing is like they're in the low underground canal dock where the Fog Hound ship is, and their leader Margette Vale, who has a soft voice and is kind of like wearing this battered sort of sea coat, no hat, sadly, she's not a pirate. Got like long, strangly, greasy black hair. She's talking to someone that you would recognize, Selkalla. What does Colin look like?
Oh, I think that Colin has probably like a shock of like bright red, like very Skovlin hair,
Hmm.
sort of like almost the stereotypical sort of ethnic look there, and probably wears like a threadbare, ragged uniform from the Unity War that he's hung on to.
Yeah, and I think they're talking very intently. Margeth Vale, leader of the Fog Hounds, with Colin, and I think Colin's kind of saying like, "Okay, okay, okay. I have to be out there. My people will need me, but I have your word, right? I have your word, okay?" And Margaret Vale's kind of like, "Yes, you have my word. Your people will be safe here."
Hmm.
And I think there's a moment where like Colin kind of like their shoulders kind of like relax a bit, and they're like, "Okay, good, okay, all right. I have to go. I have to go now." I think one of his like four fellow sailors kind of like tap him in the back and like, "We gotta go." And as they're going, Colin's kind of like, "You promised," at Marget, and I think that's when kind of like the vision ends from the machine. You see that Mara, Veldrin doesn't wake up. They're still asleep. They're snoring really loudly. But actually, here's what happens: the vision ends because you only got a two. Because the pipe in Veldrin's mouth slips out. It's not the best sort of nozzle, so the vision kind of ends. But he's still asleep, and you know he's going to be asleep for a while. So yeah, that's what you scouted. Um,
All right, so sorry, I was cutting in and out connection wise, but just to quickly summarize, it sounds like what we've got is the Foghounds have a secret smuggling route in the north that only the leader knows about.
mhm.
It sounds like they've cut an alliance with the sailors, specifically the leader Colin, who's using them to house his fugitives or troops or something.
Yeah,
And then I think it was just like general information about what the Foghounds have in terms of assets and resources, which is like their ship and their hidden dock. Is that right?
yeah, yes. You have the location of their hidden dock, for sure.
Okay.
Um, and how you would like screw them over, which is destroy it render the ship inoperable and maybe render the dry docks, their canal dock, uh, not unlivable, but like
Unusable?
uh, unusable.
Okay.
All right. I think yeah, that's enough. That sounds like enough information, unless folks want to do like another round of gathering info. But I think that all sounds good.
Yeah. No, but this is
Cool.
a spontaneous operation, relatively speaking. So let's get rowing.
I agree.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the engagement roll and then take a break. Before we do that, let's do in the engagement roll. First we need to figure out the plan. Now I'll go through this for the two players who not played Blades in the Dark. So normally your crew will spend time planning each score. They'll huddle around a flickering lantern in their lair, look at scrawled maps, whispering plots and schemes, bickering about best approaches, etc., etc. But we don't have to do that nitty gritty planning. That's beyond. That's we don't have the time. So we're just gonna cut in using the engagement roll. All you have to do is choose what type of plan the characters have already made. No need to sweat all the little details. That's what flashbacks are for. So there are 6 types of plans. If you look at the crew sheet, are they in the crew sheet? No, they're not. I think they're in just the character sheets. So you'll see them.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. You see is the type of plan and the detail. So that's all we really need. And usually that puts your fictional positioning. So assault is, as it says there on the tin, do violence to a target, if that's the plan. Deception is to lure, trick, or manipulate. Stealth is to trespass unseen. Occult is engage in a supernatural power. Social is negotiate, bargain, or persuade. And transport is carry people or cargo through danger. So what plan do you think this is? And then I need the detail.
Well, we're hoping to get in there while they're busy rather than just rush in there and start throwing things. So it wouldn't be an assault necessarily, um, but we're looking at being fairly direct, though.
Yeah, I guess you're going for a sabotage, but how would you go about it? Do you want to just attack them, or do you want to like infiltrate the place?
I like infiltrating, starting with stealth. In other words,
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. All right. So stealth, and the entry point is. I'll say you have the location of the canal dock.
right?
Yeah. I'll say that you know the canals well enough. I'll say the entry point would be like through a canal play, just through the canals.
Right. We have our boat. We're going to probably perform a nautical assault on them
Oh
because
yeah.
like they think they own the water. So like probably all their defenses are like prevent, people from finding the pathways that lead to the dock, but it's like they're relying on the hidden location of the dock to be their defense from the seaward side. And we're going to obviously counteract that.
Hell yeah. Cool. Next thing you do is each of you are going to pick your load. Load is how many items you have on you. For new players, you don't have to pick what items you bring with you. You just pick how many you have. So as we go along, you're just like, hey, I totally brought some throwing knives. Totally did, and you'll check it off. So load is how much y'all are carrying.
I think Selkalla's set to normal load, which is like the standard profile. You look like a scoundrel. You're not, but not necessarily like I'm a SWAT trooper or something.
Yeah, I should explain. Yeah, normal basically means like you do kind of look like the standard sort of scoundrel, and that's fine. Light it means that you're looking to blend in or whatnot, or you're looking to like be slippery. Heavy is like you're looking for a fight. You look like you're ready to take action. So there are like reasons for taking light or heavy or normal depending on the score.
Okay. Would heavy impose a disadvantage other than being extremely conspicuous?
Well, it will give me fictional. It would help with the position and effect sometimes. And if a complication happens, I could make use of the fact that you're carrying a shit ton on you against you.
Well, in that case, I would say Tobias has a heavy load. I would say, given that he has sabotage and destruction on his mind, he would probably have all sorts of wrecking tools, basically. So
Yeah.
a tool bag in one hand and a bunch of stuff on his back, all that sort of thing. Leaps into the boat, it sinks slightly.
Yeah, that plus the fact that we have thief rigging means that you are basically absolutely loaded with stuff.
Coils of
Yeah.
rope,
Yeah, yeah,
God,
you're ready for war.
absolutely.
hell yeah! All right. What about
We
you,
might not
Mara?
get another chance like this.
I think I'm just going to do normal load.
Okay.
Because we've got the thief stuff, so we get +2 anyways, right?
Yeah, for the applicable type of gear or tools. Yeah, which I don't think we're gonna have a problem taking use of.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to go with normal.
Hell yeah! All right. So after that, we are going to build up our engagement roll, which is a fortune roll. So it starts with 1 dice for sheer luck, and we're going to modify the dice pool for any major advantages or disadvantages. So there's a bunch of questions here. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
I think it is.
Yeah.
We're taking action on very short notice using the cover of the riots. Yeah, it feels bold to me.
Hell yeah. All right. So take an extra die, so you're up to 2. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? Doesn't sound like it. You're coming in, stealing.
Smash and grab.
Yeah, that's totally your deal. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? Well, as you said, their main defense was that this place was hidden. So I think the detail is, attacking them and where they're weakest. That's fine. So is the target strongest against this approach? I don't think they're strong against stealth. They're tier 1 faction, so they're not like the strongest. So I'll bring that up to. So that's not a minus die. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight in this operation? I think they kind of already did. So I'm trying to be nice. I'll give you all an extra die for that. They've already did. Are any of your rivals enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? Actually, you know what? Just because you're already at 4 dice, I'll add. Do you mind if I retcon the thing to what you saw there, Mara?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't recognize this person, but like I think when Colin kind of like stomps off, Margaret kind of like sighs and turns to like a hold on, let me look at the names. All right, Tobias, I'll ask you, what does Kale look like? Your vicious thug of a rival.
Oh, let me see. Probably quite a lot like Tobias, to be honest, except maybe with hair. So sort of a big, like pale, thick-set woman with sort of, the muscular arms and a lot of signs of wear on her. Probably some scars. Always a cigar sticking out of her mouth. That's the kind of picture I'm trying to paint here.
Yeah, I think I'll add that like from the vision you saw, Mara, like you saw this like person, and Margaret kind of like turns to them, just kind of like whispers something. It's a bit too quiet. Kale kind of like nods very firmly, and sticks a cigar into her mouth and starts lighting it. And you hear Margaret sighs like, "Ah, Christ, they're lighting up," as they walk away. So I'll say like totally one of your rivals is here for sure.
Oh
You
boy.
know, doing yeah, that'll be fine. So that's still 3 dice. 3 dice is still quite good for an engagement roll.
3 dice is
Um,
pretty good.
yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Who wants to roll engagement? No one's stepping up.
I guess I will.
Cool. If you go to the crew sheet, there's the button roll engagement under hunting grounds. I'm not sure what it looks like. Yeah, so that's 3 dice. All right, 5. Okay. So yeah, oh yeah, I should mention it too. Yeah, the dice pool, you take the highest. Probably should have mentioned that, but yes. So on a 4 to 5, mixed results. You're in a risky position when the action starts. So I think we're gonna take a second break because we've been here for another hour. It's only gonna take 5. So I think we'll leave off with like the 3 of you pulling off on your small boat into the canals, off to make your fortune.
Yes.
Let's take 6 actually, so we can have a nice round number when we come back at 40 past 6 minutes.
Okay.
Right. You guys
Sounds
then.
good.
See you soon.
BRB. All right, everyone's back. Just want to do a quick check-in. How are folks doing? Folks doing okay?
Yeah, doing good.
Absolutely.
Been a long day, but I'm riding high on an adventure.
Well, let's see how the adventure pans out. So, you all rolled 5 on an engagement roll. It means, yeah, you can start in a risky position. So, I do want to, like, again, a snapshot of as you kind of like pull through the canals. The gondoliers have told you what place to avoid because there are ghosts there, whatnot, because people drown in these canals. As you kind of like make your way, and you hear like the city around you, not so much breathing. Usually, when you go through these canals, you hear like the city going through the motions, but you hear the city like the city feels ragged as kind of like shouting chaos. You can hear like just so many like footsteps and running, um the shots, gunfire in the distance. But I think as you kind of pull through the canals, just getting through it, I just want like a quick description of each character and what their thoughts are as they're headed into this score amidst the chaos.
I think that for Selkalla's part, she's taking the role of like probably keeping the boat like running and directed. I don't know if Mara or Tobias are necessarily nautical, but I think that Selkalla has a little bit of practice with some matters from the war and from being friends with these rough sailors and stuff. But she takes time to put on a slender sort of leather glove at one point on her left wrist, on her left hand, and she, while we're passing under a moonlit open waterway, she extends her hand and clicks her right index finger and thumb, and a kestrel, like this bird of some kind, swoops in and lands on her gauntleted wrist. And she kind of like feeds it a small scrap of food, and then sort of whispers something to it, and it flies off again. So my hunting pet is nearby.
Hell yeah.
Nice. We got aerial reconnaissance, kind of.
Totally. I didn't take the ability that lets me see through its eyes, but that'll happen soon.
All right, I guess we're sort of polling carefully, trying to keep like undercover, maybe going through some little culverts to sort of not be seen. There's like maybe fires in the distance. Maybe we're sort of going across a wider canal. We see the bridge a couple of 100 yards down. Someone seems to be getting thrown off it.
Yeah.
Probably while on fire. But that's all background right now. Tobias is just trying to steady his breath because he knows that this could be where it all turns around for him because it's been a pretty bad couple of years. So just breathing in, counting the various like crowbars and cudgels and other like clinking things that he's got in the bottom of the boat. Just thinking, okay, this is here. My hand will find this when it needs it. All right. And he looks over at his companions, including now a kestrel. Doesn't say anything, just like locks eyes. You ready? Game face is on, people.
And I think Mara is just like going through checking and rechecking all of her equipment because this is, I think, probably the biggest job she's done so far. So she's a newbie. So yeah, this is a big deal.
Yeah, what's her sort of specialization? Is she a mechanical engineer, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mechanical engineer.
Yes, envisioning what sort of tools you were working with, I wasn't sure. So, more clinking metal objects.
Great for a bunch of shadow thieves. Well, you're here to break stuff. Well,
Yeah, we are pretty heavy. We're running pretty heavy for thieves. I kind of like it though. This is a pretty cool change from the usual shadow
nice.
situation.
All right. Okay, so you're gonna get through like the first obstacle. So what that looks like is like you pull through and you sneak to like through the canals and you open up towards the canal dock and you can see like the Fog Hound, this kind of like battered but still venerable looking steamship. It's just sitting here in the dry docks, and I think you kind of like enter to like near enough the entrance, but the sentries at the entrance probably won't see you. And it's kind of like silently pull through, even though you can hear the clinking of all your stuff. It's kind of drowned out because you can hear the sounds of like yelling above everything, because again this is an underground canal dock, so we can hear just yelling and fire, and yeah, maybe like you'll see at the mouth of the canal dock someone pitching over from from outside, just falling into the water. But you'll get through, and you'll find there is like at the bottom of this like steamship, you'll find that there's like a sort of, I guess, weak in a I think no you'll see like a porthole that I think looks weak enough, and like I'm not gonna make Mara spend this because again this is all part of engagement role. The porthole is like weak enough like you can just tear it open and you'll be inside. And when you kind of like get in, you're in the three of you. Tobias might have to squeeze a bit.
Someone can push.
Yeah. You come in and you're in this like dingy, darkly lit sort of storage room. There's like boxes around you full of just you say, well, it's meant to be usually filled with stuff, but if you look through, you'll see that like there's just a lot of boxes, but not a lot of things in them. They're like boxes waiting to be filled with like smuggling goods, so to speak. And if you look, there's only like one entrance toward this place, this storage room, and I think you hear like muffled voices outside of the room, just like it's more like oh, I just got a message from my sister. Go away. Sorry. Facebook pop-ups. I should get rid of them. Yeah, so the three of you are kind of in this storage room, and I think you hear like you hear the door kind of like jostles if someone's going in, and then you hear again muffled conversation be like, and kind of like the hand on the door handle kind of like stops. So you're in a risky situation. There are people right outside the room you're in. What do you all do?
Can we tell how many people?
Enough to hold a muffled conversation.
Yeah, so
For
at least
sure.
two. Yeah.
Yeah, at least two.
Or one really lonely guy?
Yeah.
No, I'll say they're at least.
Yeah, that could be true. Very true.
No, I think. Okay.
Yeah, I think that Selkalla's immediate instinct is going to be to ghost up to the side of the door on the side that it swings open, and hug the wall so that I can basically ambush whoever's about to step through. My instinct is to not break out the rifles and pistols and go crazy until I need to, right? So I think you see me draw like I'm going to mark a blade or two on my sheet because I draw like this wicked-looking sort of hunting knife as I sort of sidle up to the edge and wait with a finger to my lips as we check to see if these people are actually going to open the door all the way and come in or get distracted by their conversation.
Cool.
And
right, so go ahead.
I think I'm gonna check off my bandolier of alchemicals to get some trance powder ready to go if someone comes in.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I think what this looks like is I'm gonna get Selkalla to make a roll, and Mara's providing an assist. That sounds like what it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you rolling with, Mara? Oh no, sorry, Selkalla.
I mean, the idea here is prowl, right?
Yeah.
To ambush with close violence, if it's indeed required here. But mostly be unseen and traverse, right?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. So that's a risky standard. This is up your alley.
Sure.
And assist, to explain to the other two, is you're gonna provide the person you're assisting with +1 die, but you're gonna take 1 stress. So that's what you're gonna be doing, Mara,
All right.
as you kind of set yourself up. So you take 1 stress, and Selkala gets an extra die. Do you want another extra die? Either push yourself or take a devil's bargain.
I'm willing to hear a bargain, but I don't think I'm pushing here.
Okay. The bargain is you're gonna feel and you can reject this. You can feel a rumble as the steam engines turn on, and you're gonna be on the clock.
Oh, interesting. It's very tempting to take it because I find it. I just think it would embellish the fiction in a sort of a fun way. How do we feel about that?
I'll say,
It kind of affects the group though, so
yeah.
I don't want to.
I'll say it's an 8-step clock specifically.
Eight clicks. Oh man, easy day.
Yeah,
Easy day. We're talking 1 tick on an 8 clock. Yeah. All right, you got
All
it.
right.
You got it, Leandro. Okay.
Okay. All right. Nice.
I was fishing for a 6. Just got a 5, unfortunately.
No, 5 still good. Look, 5 still means you do it. There's just going to be a complication. But I'm going to add a Fog Hound setting off clock. And you know what? Oh, hold on. I misspelled Fog Hound. I spelled Fog. Who? Oh wait, nope. I accidentally capitalized N and D. All right, there we go. Setting clock. Okay, so on a 4 to 5, you're gonna do it, but there's a consequence. So the door opens, and this this sailor who's wearing like just a vest and some trousers kind of walks in. Describe to me what it looks like when you get tangled with them, when you try to knock them out.
Right. Well, noting the fact that Mara's got the trance powder here, I'm going to rotate my my grip on the hunting knife, so I'm actually holding it by the blade. And as he steps through, Selkalla is going to step up, put one hand around the mouth as you're like throwing trance powder into his face and nostrils, and then the other hand I'm striking him with the sort of knotty, thick hilt of the blade in the back of the head in an effort to sort of jumpstart the trance we need.
Yeah, and I think all right, 3 things will happen. Sorry, that's a lot of things that's about to happen. 1, you're gonna do it. I think you jumpstart the trance powder, and he's gonna be like, ugh, as he falls into. What does trance powder do? I'm gonna ask Mara. What does it do? Do you think?
I think it knocks you out fast. Like you take it, and then you're just dead to the world.
Right.
Low rent and aesthetic in some places.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. That's what happens. So, so you do that. You will knock out this guy, and you probably you'll set him down. Then you hear the rumble of the steam engines, and it shivers through the entire ship. As I'm gonna add another tick to this. The clocks are in the faction sheet, so you can keep watch over there. There are now 2 ticks on this Fog Hound setting. What's a setting off? There we go. Setting off clock. So that's kind of like that's the one of the. I said 3 things, right? I'm only at thing 2. Actually, you know what? No, I think that's a good enough complication. I don't want to pile in too much. So you're gonna set this guy down, but now you feel the rumble of the ship. You've got. I mean, I'll say right now, one of your objectives was to wreck the ship's engines. If you do that, you will get rid of this clock anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So you've knocked out the bloke, and I think if you walk out of the room, you'll see that you're in kind of in this you walk out into like this long corridor, and you kind of realize that like, oh hey, this ship is kind of like one long corridor. You're at the bottom deck so far. You felt the steam engines rumble from the back, as if like, well, not from, yeah, from behind you, so to speak. And you'll see like some lights up ahead of you. Yeah, I'm gonna turn to Tobias. What do you want to do? Or what's Tobias thinking doing?
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting in reserve there. With a nod, I compliment my two compatriots on a job slickly done. As we now have an unconscious, I was going to say prisoner, but I think we're done with him. Our stories are going to part ways as we leave him on the ground. Right. So, there were voices outside, but only one person came in. And someone's driving this thing. I don't know how much company we have here, so better to proceed cautiously, I guess.
Mm.
I mean,
I think. Do we have like a thieves' cant or some kind of like mutual language through like hand gestures or something? Do we think, as the shadows? I feel like that's probable for us, right?
Yeah,
we've got something. So I think there's like a brief confab here where Selkalla is going to suggest that we bring Mara to the back where the engine is because we need to shut that sucker down. And it seems like Patsy, or correction, I'm sorry, that's your real name. It seems like Stumpy. So Hammer to the back where the engines are, Stumpy to the front where the voices are. Seems to me like the most reasonable allocation of personnel.
Okay, nice. You're just hand gesturing one rear.
Yeah. Right, and then thumbs like the finger guns.
Nice. All right. That sounds. Oh, who's gonna be alone though? Who is Kala gonna come with?
I feel like I'm the flex muscle here. So do we have like a rough approximation of how close we are to either the engines or to like the primary like manned or personnel room on this vessel?
I will say that like you had an idea when you like poked when you were outside, you were directly in the middle.
Perfect.
Just to make things, just so you can decide.
Who
do you think needs most help from South
Yeah,
Korea?
I feel like I'm going to go help Mara just in case. I think I have a feeling that Stumpy is going to make a real mess of things up front, and he probably doesn't need my help to make a mess of things. That's my guess. Right. I want to protect our valuable skilled labor. No offense.
Get another like small violent man anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, right. Duskwall's thick with them. Mara knows a trade or two, though. Just saying. No offense.
He's got third level education.
Yeah.
Basically witchcraft.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. So I'm gonna concentrate on Stumpy for now. So the three of you, well, you're gonna split off from the other two. You're going off to like the front, right? You're looking for like kind of like the personnel.
Yeah, basically like sweeping and clearing, like seeing what I've got to deal with, sort of prowling up the ship, and then if there's something to deal with, I will deal with it.
All right. That sounds like an action rating, for sure. Which one do you think you're rolling with?
Okay, I've got prowl, which I guess, given that I want to play things low key, skirmish comes later, perhaps. So yeah, I guess I would want to prowl up the ship. Also, how does the producing Schrodinger's items for my load work? Would I just sort of declare something?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can click the little box next to them and to turn it red to indicate that you've locked that in as a item here.
Yeah, Tobias slides a scary weapon or tool from his trouser leg, which is a crowbar that's sharpened along one edge. Just kind of.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's real proud of it. And he goes stalking off in the shadows of the ship. Is it sort of dark in here?
Yeah, I think you're kind of like this ship isn't well lit for some reason. It's quite dingy. It's not like it's not the nicest of ships.
They're
It's
trying to get the generator online still, probably.
yeah, they're doing the industrial fancy equivalent of pulling the rope to get the engine going. Probably shoveling quite a bit of coal in there. All right. So it sounds like you're prowling.
I am. So,
Yeah. Since you kind of got out of you beat up that guy fairly well enough. This is kind of like a controlled sort of position. Standard
Alright.
effect. You're roaming around. Do you want? Okay. Do you want to push yourself or take a devil's bargain? So what that means is you can either push yourself, which means take 2 stress and you can get an extra die, or take a devil's bargain, which is a complication that will already happen. that will happen, but you will get an extra die.
I think I would push myself because there's lots riding on this. I need this to go well.
Cool. All right. So that's take 2 stress. Just click the
Okay.
2 stress button.
Do-
Hell yeah. So you get an extra die.
Alright.
Sadly, you can only have either push yourself or take a devil's bargain. You can't have both. So with prowl, controlled standard, and 1 extra die.
Yeah, I wondered if there's a way to assist this, but I'm not sure that there is if I'm going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Is there okay? This may be a little bit of a stretch, but is there a way to have my my kestrel hunting pet give him cover while he's doing this? Unfortunately, we're kind of enclosed in the boat, so I think this is too much of a reach, probably.
I mean, it could like, perch on my shoulder, and if there's suddenly a scuffle, there could be an angry bird in someone's face. Like,
I would say
like-
what? Yeah, I'll give them the extra die. You're gonna take 1 stress, but what that means that you won't have your hunting pet with you.
Yeah, but I have two normal humans, so yeah, I'm willing to split my my resources in that way. So yeah, the kestrels, however we want to visualize that, is helping Tobias up front, and I'll take a stress to assist here. Give you that bonus.
All right. Cool. All right, so that's 2 bonus dice.
Dees.
Dice. All right. Good luck, Stumpy.
two bonus dice. Oh,
Hey, it's a 5. All right, so you're gonna on a controlled on a 4 to 5 on a controlled, you hesitate, withdraw, and try a different approach, or else do it with a minor consequence. So what this looks like is so you're stomping around looking for people, right?
Yeah.
Here's kind of like what you see as kind of stomp around. Most of it you'll find just a bunch of empty rooms. You're gonna tell that most of the fog hounds are outside. They're dealing with the situation right now. But I think, all right, this is me massively getting how ships layout works completely wrong. I don't think the captain's cabin will be up the front, but in this case, it will be.
Yeah.
So,
No reason it couldn't be. I don't think.
yeah, we'll have it now. I think here's where the hesitation will come from. You sneak up through a door that has a porthole kind of cover, and what you call it, Selkalla, Moon's bird, will kind of like let out a bit of a cry as if they can sense something, and you see as you look through. You see that it's a fairly nice sort of office. There is some, well, actually no. It looks fairly nice, but you can tell it's been reappropriated by someone else. There's like some maps of what looks like shipping lanes or whatnot, and the Fog Hounds, they ship things, sure, but they're not strictly speaking legal sort of things. And you'll see like the leader of the Fog Hounds, Margette Vale, kind of like scribbling some stuff on the desk. What makes you hesitate is that like they've got your buddy Kale kind of like sitting across them. Actually, I don't think you see Margaret Vale. You barely see them because your buddy Kale is blocking. How do you pronounce that name? Kale or Chael? Chael. Okay.
At once my eyes widened. Chael, that vile temptress. I knew she was this.
All right, so you can withdraw and try a different approach, or you can just like, no, I think, yeah, you spot them, I think, because you've been prowling, but I think the minor complication is that I don't know. Would seeing Chael would put you would it give you pause? What would be the effect of
Oh, I
her?
think that would definitely be a pause as emotion rises in Tobias's chest. You know, love and hate, warring, that sort of thing. Uh, yeah, it would certainly stop him from doing what he would otherwise do, which is march on in there and start doing what he does. I think this is a moment of consideration, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I think what it sounds like is you're going to withdraw for the moment.
Yeah, if it doesn't, like, that's a cabin, I'm at the door of it, I guess I would hesitate, maybe see if I can have a listen. But yeah, I wouldn't burst in there just yet. I feel like this is a new complication. I want to see what's up.
Cool. All right. Cool. So yeah. So no minor complication will happen because you chose to withdraw. All right. We're gonna cut away from you back to the other two. Again, you kind of get the same feeling as you're waking towards the engines that like this place is. It seems like the Fog Hounds are kind of empty this place out for some reason. They're preparing for something, but the like the crew is just kind of not there, except for obviously at the steam engines. And I think I'll just cut to you getting there. I don't think there's anything interesting in the way. So I think you unlike to the captain's cabin, there's like a big steel door. There's no way to look through to see if there's anybody in there. But I think you do hear like some yelling. Inside. It's still kind of muffled because it's a steel door, but it's more like instead of it's more like and you hear like
And the engines are like shuddering to life, correct?
yes.
Okay. So the volume in here, and we're inside the ship. So like, I think that Selkalla draws a fine pistol as we sort of form up on either side of this door, because I think that we can be covered by the volume of the engines and the sort of obstructions that are in this space. I can probably get away with a muffled gunshot or two.
Nice. Wait. All right. So, what about you, Mara?
I think I'm gonna reach into my bandoliers again and pull out. I'm trying to decide between eye blind poison and fire oil. I think I might just go with fire oil. Just toss a Molotov around in the engine room. I mean, we're trying to sink the ship.
Oh man, a fire in an enclosed space. I like this. I like this a lot. This is going in a good direction.
We knew this was happening.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was gonna happen. All right. I think what this sounds like is a group action.
Yeah,
the two
sure.
are gonna burst in there and cartel. Who wants to take the lead?
I think Selkalla would love to with Hunt as the military sort of tactician here. So I want to lead the way. The first armed sailor I see goes down with a pistol shot, and then Mara's going to contribute this flaming oil, and it's just going to be chaos in there.
Okay. All right. So, what a group action, I'll explain for there too. How it works is that this is the everyone sneaks into the same building sort of move. What does like the both of you are gonna roll the same action rating. So hunt, but only one success from either will count as success for a whole. So say as long as someone rolls a 4 to 6, either of you will be fine. What happens is if there's a failure, the group leader will take 1 stress for that failure. So if you roll 1 to 3, that's basically how it works. So it sounds like you're rolling hunt. I see, Mara, you don't have any hunt. So what we'll do is that you would roll 2 and take the lowest. Roll 20 to calculate that. If you want, you can push yourself or take a dark devil's bargain to get 1 die.
What's our position and effect?
Oh, the position. Oh, sorry.
I think it matters a lot what the position and effect is here.
Okay, all right. I think they don't know what's coming, but I think it's still risky because there's you don't know how many people there are in there.
Right.
For sure. I think you're gonna come in like as a surprise. I'll say it's and you got some nice pistols and some Molotov. I'm not gonna expect that. I'll say that's great. I'll be
All
nice.
Right. Yeah,
that's
risky with great effect. I dig that.
Yeah. So Mara, what was the question you were asking?
I think I'm gonna push myself.
Cool.
Oh wait, that's 2 stress. I'll do it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. I've got 2 dice natively. I think I'm going to hold steady there unless there's a devil's bargain proposed.
Let's see. Let me see what is happening. I mean, I add 1 tick to the clock, to the.
That's a great bargain for me because I think we're going to shut these engines down very soon.
All right. Okay, fine. 2 ticks. There we go. Thanks for changing my mind. 2 ticks for this clock.
Yeah, now you're talking. And
Yeah,
yes, I
all
would
right,
like to
there we
take
go.
that.
All
So
right,
1
cool.
bonus die for me. We ready?
Yep.
I'm rolling mine for got a 5 there, and we had a miss there. So I take 1 stress automatically because I have to basically cover for Mara. But the result of 5 counts for both of us, so we both
Yes.
effectively count as a group action 5 result, I guess. Whatever that,
Alright.
if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That means
do
it's a
it.
success. Yeah, you do it.
We as a group do it. It's just a little bit
Yeah.
harder for me because I'm covering for a less than stellar performance.
Oh gosh. All right. So describe to me, the 2 of you, how you're like burst into this room and start raising hell, so to speak. I'll start with Selkalla since you were leading the action.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very military. Like Selkalla breaks in, pistol at the ceiling, and I'm going to use the machinery in here to my advantage to stalk and murder these poor people. So like she extends it and just puts down the first sailor we see here with a pistol shot, and then immediately like drops the pistol into her sash, draws her second one as she rotates around a giant boiler and starts stalking down one end, pistol out raised, and looking for my next prey. And I'm basically putting angles on these poor guys and starting to pick them off one by one.
Nice. What do we see Mara do?
I think Mara tags along behind her, and then at one point, like somebody like just catches her completely flat-footed by surprise, and she just freezes. So I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. Moon has to just like punch him or something to distract him long enough for me to throw the fire oil out.
Sure.
Yeah. So all right. So you rolled a 4 to 5. All right. So yeah, I think you will like just clear. You'll clean house, and I think you'll notice is like the folks here are, LaRose was right. These are sailors. They're not exactly like combatants. They're very good at navigating the seas and whatnot. But they're not like warriors. So you're completely like caught them off guard. So and I think I think you clear like, and I think by the time like the quote unquote dust settles, there's like four people kind of dead, and there's a small fire going on where the fire oil came from. It looks like you have kind of like the place to yourselves, but here's kind of like the complication. You've got the fire, you've got the engines, but I think you hear like a scuffle. You hear like footsteps pounding from behind you, and you sound like you hear the sound of people shouting like, "Intruders! We need to get we've got intruders in the ship!" And you hear that kind of like cry, kind of like go around a very loud voice outside the ship and go around inside the ship, kind of shout like, "We've got intruders!" And you hear that as well, Tobias. So
Okay. So I also hear gunshots and screaming people on fire and such like.
yeah. So what the complication is, you're going to be in a desperate position. So you've got the room to yourself, but it's going to be tricky because they know people are here now. Gunshots and fire will kind of like alert them to that. You can choose to resist that if you want.
I could use that to my advantage, I suspect.
Yeah, I think a little extra chaos is kind of good for us, and rolling desperate rolls is great XP. So
because what I got is 2 people in a room, and I know if they want to go investigate anything, there's one door they got to come out of. I might, while I'm sort of crouching by the door, wondering what my next move should be, and then I start hearing gunshots and someone who's been hit by fire oil, who probably makes a fair amount of noise. And let me see. If I'm loaded up for burglary, would I have something like a lubricant, like something you might use on locks, for instance?
Ooh. Yes, you can check off your burglar gear for sure. And I think that's free because that's part of your thieves rigging, so that doesn't count to your load, which is nice.
So yeah, I'd start dumping that out if I have like a flask of it or whatever in sort of a trail in front of the door, and then I would retire into maybe a sort of shadowy corner, maybe behind where the door would open, and wait to see if anyone comes out.
All right. What action are you gonna roll with that?
I mean, hoping to set up an ambush would probably be prowl.
Yes, that sounds like it. So the desperate position is not for you because nobody knows where you are. It's for your two compadres. So it's still risky. This is a risky attempt. This is risky standard. For prowl with your burglar gear. This is a fairly standard sort of roll. Do you want to push yourself or get a devil's bargain?
I'll get a devil's bargain just to test some mechanics.
Okay. Here's what the bargain will be. Let me ask: were you hoping to entangle both of them in this trap?
No, not. I was hoping to entangle the first one, and then like get the drop on the other one in the hope of like mitigating their numbers. So like one of them would be momentarily out of the picture, then I can swing on the other one. Because to be honest, they're both on my enemies list for different reasons. One for breaking my heart, one for having a fancier boat than me.
All right. Okay. I'm not sure if I have devil's bargain for this. Does anyone have a devil's bargain? Because players can like suggest stuff as well for this moment. I've had someone put a devil's bargain on themselves once, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yeah, I just really want to fight someone like me. If that's okay." It's just like, okay, all right, fail forward, buddy.
Maybe they're heavily armed or something. Like the one who doesn't get caught by the trap has like a gun or something.
Ooh, yeah, that'll be cool. Like they'll have the equivalent of fine weaponry. For sure, they'll be loaded for bear, so to speak. So you will have a fight in your hands.
Right.
So you're gonna take that part. Cool. Get an extra die.
Okay, one bonus die. Oh,
Ooh, that's a 3. Things go badly. All right. So here's what happens. You're set up. You set up. You got the oil slick back, and I think the door squeezes open, and then you hear Chael go. And you hear like some very ginger footsteps on the floor.
my trap's
you'll
only
think-
weakness. People walking carefully.
Yeah, and I think you'll need to investigate, and you'll feel like, all right, what's Chael's melee weapon? Because it's gonna smash against your head.
Hatchet.
Oof. Okay, maybe not against your head, but against you for sure. And that's a level 2 harm. The hatch is gonna just like come against like either like your hand or your shoulder.
Well,
all
I've
right,
got
here's
a fighting helmet on. So.
or your special fighting helmet. So all right, that's a level 2 harm. That's a consequence. You can choose to resist that consequence. Basically, there's a mechanic for this game where basically you can say a complication happens, and you can say nope, that doesn't happen, and automatically it'll be successful. You're gonna incur some stress, and you're gonna roll to see how much stress you're gonna get. That's a nice thing.
In this example, she wouldn't have detected me.
No, the failure still works, but you wouldn't just be hurt. Like you won't set off the trap won't set off, but like the consequence where you get stabbed by this hatchet, it'll just be negated by the resistance roll.
Okay.
And Tobias also has the Battleborn special ability, which gives you special armor to reduce harm from an attack.
Yeah, I was meaning to ask about that the first time it became relevant.
Yeah. I would say like they'll push you to to reduce harm. They'll push you to a level 1 harm if you want to expend that special armor. Hmm.
Oh, because I have my I literally have my special hat that I just mentioned. So
Your special hat.
I guess I would invoke Battleborn in this case to take less damage and still be in a fight with this woman.
Yeah. So mark up special. That means you won't incur any stress because you're not going to roll resistance. But yeah, your special hat is gonna take the blow, and you'll hear just the hissing sound. Not hissing sound. You'll hear her hiss out, "Stumpy."
You always knew it was going to come down to this between the two of us, love.
And I think you were going to get locked into a fight with them. So we're going to cut away from you. I think on the corner of your eye, you'll see like Margette Vale kind of like move away from the door as well. I think she is going to move. She'll see that, and she'll see like Chael is taking care of this, and she's gonna walk. She's gonna run away. She's over your oil. She's not gonna run over that. She's gonna slip for that. Damn. Nope. That was a failure for a reason. She's gonna run back to the back of the ship towards. Let's cut to you, Mara and Selkalla.
Sorry, just ask, how do I mark down the point of harm that I got?
Yeah. It's a description. So I think you're gonna have the level 1 harm rattled because you did take a hit to your head. So you just write down rattled in one of those 2 boxes.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. All right. So back to the steam engine ship. So the steam engine ship, the engine room, to be exact. Yeah. You've got a moment, Mara, to do your work, but you hear people running towards you. At least you can hear movement in the ship.
Is it too late to try to resist the desperate circumstances? With
that I would have put that up to the leader, to the group action leader.
I wasn't going to resist it because I think rolling a few desperate rolls in your early scores is good for the. It's good character building.
Yes. When you roll desperate rolls, that's when you get XP. I should mention that.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, I'll roll desperate. I'm gonna try to basically turn the steam engine up to max and then jam the release valve shut so it just blows itself to pieces.
Very nice.
What does that look like?
I think I'm just basically turning a few dials, pushing a few levers, and then snapping them off.
Cool. All right.
Wild.
That sounds like that's a desperate standard. I will say you do have fine wrecking tools in your load. If you use those, the effect will go up. That's what fine means. It boosts your effect from standard to great, basically.
Oh yeah, I'm using the fine tools.
Ooh.
Yeah. And Selkalla is 100%. If I could mark off tinkering tools here, off using the thieves rigging, I think that I'm assisting by walking down the row of there's probably multiple boilers running in parallel, and I've got like a pneumatic wrench or something, and I'm blasting off like critical structural bolts that hold like parts of these giant like boiler gaskets that are basically keeping the pressure from going everywhere with these things. So I'm basically going to help her set up this chain reaction that's going to blow the whole interior of the ship out.
Nice.
So that's
right.
one stress to assist as well, right?
Yes. One little thing. We are kind of getting close to like our time. It's okay if we go over. I just want to wrap up this score because I know Patsy won't be here.
I'm good.
Next session. I just want to wrap it up. I just want to. I don't want to end with a cliffhanger, but like we'll go over like maybe like I'll try like 10 to 15 minutes over our allowed time. That's okay with folks.
Yeah,
I'm good with it.
Cool. All right. So, So that will get Mara an extra die. Do you want to push yourself or accept a bargain?
What's a bargain?
Ooh, What
If you don't
is
have one,
bargain?
I'm fine without it.
Yeah, I'm too nice. I'm not good at coming up with bargains for sure. Um,
It,
um,
it, it's a desperate roll. I think I might just be fine without a bargain already.
okay, all right, that's fine. All right, so yeah, I assume you're using your rec, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Yes, that's desperate. Great. 3 dice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you got a 5. So, 5 to great effect. Mark your prowess because that's where your rec is under. You roll the desperate roll under the attribute. You're gonna mark that. See those red? Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
So, on a 5 and a desperate, you're gonna do it, but there's a consequence. Um, I think you're absolutely gonna do it. I think you and I don't think you need to tell Selkalla that like the pressure has gone up as like um and I think the two of you are gonna like kind of gonna book it for sure. And you can tell that the thing is gonna explode. But here's kind of like the complication: when you run out of the room, you are gonna be like one end face to face with like three quite angry sailors,
Mhm.
um, holding all sorts of like pipes or knives and whatnot. And you can see behind them, kind of like making their way, is their leader, Margaret Vale, and her face looks very cold and furious. So the complication is going to be they're going to be right at your heels, and I'm going to turn. But the steam engines are fecked up. They're going to be fecked up in the next they're going to blow up in the next 30 seconds, and they can't stop that. So I'll give you that success. But I'm going to turn to Selkala. The two of you are kind of like face to face with this group. I will say you're kind of like at the end. There's room to run behind you, but you're going to be running away from your exit. But
Right. We
there's
we
like
could go back further into the ship and attempt to evade them somehow. Is that what you're
yeah.
saying?
Yeah, you could, but like you'll be kind of running away from where you came in, where your boat is.
Yeah. Um, this is rough. I don't want to fight these people, and there's possibly a way out that involves the intimidation factor, where basically your ship's about to go up in flames. You do not want to fight me right now. You want to go back into the engine room and try to fix it. And basically just bluff my way through it, and then they do that, and then it blows up on top of them. That sounds like commands to me, right?
Yes, and this is desperate limited because it's a bit much.
Right.
It's
Shit. How can I improve this?
push yourself or take a bargain.
Yeah, maybe I push myself for effect on this.
Okay, yeah,
Or
you can totally
yeah,
do that.
for better effect because it's already going to be. I've got one. This is rough. I've got one dot in command already, which is a good start, but it's not all the way there.
Does Mara want to help?
Yeah, can I help by pulling out like another couple of those like flame oil things just as like a don't mess with us. We've got Molotovs.
No. Pull out all the structural bolts to their engine room and just drop them on the floor and just be like, no, she's not fucking with you.
All right. Take one stress, Mara, and you're going to be giving Sokala extra die.
So
You
we're
want to push
desperate.
yourself.
I've pushed myself for 2 stress to get effects from limited to standard, and I've got 1
All right.
bonus die. Is that right?
Yes.
Um,
Desperate standard.
is there a bargain here that we can think of to get
Oh,
me
you
out?
already pushed yourself. You already pushed yourself. It's one or the other.
But I pushed myself for effect, not for the bonus
Mhm.
die. Ordinarily, that's not mutually exclusive, I thought.
Yeah. Let's see. You push yourself for greater forms. Each bonus you choose. Okay. Ability to push yourself. Yeah. You know what? I'll make that. I'll make them exclusive. Sure. Just to be nice,
Okay.
because you're in a spot. Oh, what is the devil's bargain? This is because I don't want to complicate the score anymore. What's gonna happen is that whatever will happen, Margaret Vale is going to survive, and he's gonna be tracking you all down after this. I'm gonna say instead of normally, when you do a score against a faction, it's gonna be a -1, but this is gonna be a -2.
Yeah, because you're talking about in terms of like her interfering with us as a adversary or enemy.
Yes.
I don't know how much I like that, which means it's a good bargain.
You're in a position. Well, you got 2 dice.
Yeah, 2 dice. 2 dice is a lot of dice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm willing to take the gamble on this one, but if anyone wants to override me and say we desperately need it, I think 2 dice I can do it. We've been waiting for the 6 all game. Like, where's the 6? You know, not there.
Oh my! Oh wow! That's
real rough.
that's okay. All right. On a desperate failure, it's the worst outcome.
Yeah, it is the worst. I'm going to mark 1 XP to my resolve, which should say at least what I'm getting that.
Oh my god! All right, I'm gonna have to think about this. I'm gonna cut away from you while I figure out how to not kill you off. There are ways, but like Jesus. All right, I'm gonna cut away from you for the moment. Cut back to Tobias. You are now, I will assume, is probably like not highly choreographed. You two are thugs.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we've probably fought before. We've sparred in alleyways. We've had drunken brawls in mud puddles. But this time it's for real. I know how she fights. She knows how I fight. We both have our horrible, twisted, heavy weapons at the ready in this tiny, pokey, dimly lit corridor. And without a word, I guess we go at it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just gonna get in a fight. And you've got a scary weapon, which isn't a fine weapon. Sadly enough, it is just a scary weapon. I don't think she's scared of you.
No.
She did get hit. She did just bash you in the head. Yeah. This is just a straight up skirmish, I'd say.
All right.
I think this is. She got you in the head. This is a bit desperate as well. I think.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's all desperate for y'all. Do you want to push yourself or take a bargain?
Got
stress to spare.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would push myself. This is both emotionally and professionally important to me. Unless you can make a particularly good bargain, or anyone else can.
Does anyone have a particularly good bargain?
Not sure that I do, but I can offer an assist from Selkalla's Kestrel.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, who's I got to come up with a cool name for the Kestrel, but I can push a stress because I think I'm going to trauma out here in a little bit anyway, so I may as well use it well. So I'm going to push you a stress for that.
Okay.
So yeah, it flies in through a portal basically and gets in Chael's eyes with as a storm of sharp little talons before she manages to bat it away, but it buys you a second.
All right, no honor among thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that gets you an extra die then. They put you up to 3. Well, 2 for skirmish and an extra die.
The effect standard?
You do have less effect because of that 1 harm.
Pull out a fine hand weapon or something though.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that something I could do?
Yeah, you came in heavy. You've got plenty of space.
Okay. The crowbar is in one hand.
If it's 2 big boxes that are linked, you have to click both. So
yeah,
it takes up.
It's either another hand weapon or it's a fine heavy weapon, like you've got a battle axe in here with you or something.
Click then. So I think I'm going crowbar and a jeweled stiletto that I stole from someone. I went out on the floor. It's not usual fighting style, but I think I can make it work.
Hell yeah. That's a desperate standard then.
Okay.
Just skirmish and get an extra die.
Standard. 1 extra die. All right.
It's a 5. 5. You do it, but there's a consequence. Okay. I think the consequence is gonna be reduced effect. Because you've done this dance before, for sure. In fact, I think it almost kind of becomes choreographed the way you two fight. Well, choreographed as two street brawlers who grew up in those. You didn't get any fancy lessons in beating each other up.
It's a Jason Bourne choreographed fight. You're just putting each other's heads through, nearby pieces of stationery and stuff.
Yeah, we're in an enclosed space, so basically every surface it is possible to slam someone's head against it.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna put up a clock for her. She seems important enough, but it's a small clock only because we don't have much time. It's like 4 ticks, and your action is gonna put it like halfway. But I think you two clash. You beat each other up, and I think she kind of like drives you into the captain's office, and the two of you kind of smash against each other and whatnot there. And I think she kind of like she again not hisses, but she hisses out, just being like, you always were such a disappointment, Stumpy, always backing the wrong horse, as she kind of like against you, and you block it somehow with the stiletto or something.
I get a pile of papers from the desk on the end of the stiletto and like fire it, so there's like papers everywhere, so she misses her.
Nice. You know what? I'm gonna make this interesting for you, Tobias. I think in the scattering of papers, because you kind of smashed against Captain's desk, and this is in the interest of making things wrapping things up as soon as possible. I think you will see like a sheaf of like maps that are like carefully bound up, kind of like fall out of the desk. I wouldn't say they are the routes you're here for, but I think you can tell that they're like fairly important enough, and like they may not be the ones that Margit has on her, but like they're. I think Chael gives the bundle of maps a look, as if to say like, "Oh shit, those are fairly important."
But it's fairly sizable. Like I couldn't, for instance, in a breathing space in the fight, just stick it down my trousers for safekeeping.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a fight.
It would be a carry it out under your arm when you're not fighting for your life kind of scenario.
Yeah,
good to know.
Exactly. Yeah. While you're fighting, though, you hear an explosion. You feel the ship rock.
What the?
Back to the other two. You're gonna take your prominent issues are right, Charles. You probably will trauma because you're gonna take the brunt of this harm.
Right.
As the ship, the engines, the explosion comes out of the steam engine room, and it's gonna like knock away like the group and knock them back, and kind of like this fire kind of like hits you full force, kind of like in the face, and kind of knocks you back. You're kind of probably gonna take the brunt of it, but Mara's gonna be hit back, so I think you're gonna be knocked back against Mara. So to Mara, that's gonna be like a level 2 harm, but for you, Selkalla, it's a level 3. You're gonna be burned.
Yeah, savagely burned. I would like to try to reduce it using armor
Okay.
first, because I have enough ticks for it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so I still would have 1 free, and the tinkering tools have been free for me up to this point.
Yep.
So that reduces it to level 2, right?
Yes.
And then I'd like to take it down even further by resisting with prowess, unless the prowess resist would get rid of all of it. But I suspect that you're going to be hard on this one, which I would.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would. I mean, if I were you, I would.
Okay. All right. I've got carte blanche to be hard on this then. Cool. Yes, they'll reduce it to level 1. So you can and it will be prowess, because it is kind of like trying to like you're taking it in the face. So
Well, I got a decent roll, so I'm only going to take 1 additional stress for that.
oh nice. So yeah, you're still alive. You're still ready.
Yeah, I can roll with it.
Nice. So Mara, you're gonna take level 2 harm. You can resist it to bring it down to level 1.
Can I do the same armor and resist trick?
Let's see. How much stuff do you have?
I've only used 1 load besides the thieves gear, I think.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Wrecking tools is 2. So you have 2. You have 2 left. You can totally take an armor to do the same trick. See,
I thought the upgrade thing let us
oh,
carry.
My ability.
Tools are free off of thieves rigging.
oh, yeah, tools. Okay, yes, yeah, tools. Yeah, I should have mentioned. Yeah, I should have seen the tools. Yes, yes. So you have plenty of space for armor. Yes.
Great. So that'll reduce it to 1, and I'm going to try to resist.
Cool. That's with prowess as well. Just click the prowess word.
Yeah.
Mara has a very high prowess resist roll as well, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it rolls the 3 behind that line. Basically, how many action ratings you've got. That's what it rolls.
5.
Yeah. 6 stress minus the highest. So you're gonna take 1 stress.
All right.
Cool. So miraculously, the two of you stand up. Not the worst for wear, but you can feel the heat kind of coming off it. It knocks out It knocks out the sailors, but you can see Mar get Vale standing up gingerly. It looks like she's quite hurt. Unfortunately, she's not a PC, so she can't resist. She looks quite banged up. You got 1 out of the 2 things you wanted out of this score.
Right.
I want to try something. So if Mara's the only one who knows where it is, and if she dies, that means we find the documents, we're the only ones who know the new route, right?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good to me. I was going to suggest it if you weren't.
Wow. Okay, Mara. Since you suggested, Mara, you're gonna have to do it. How do you do it?
I think I'm just gonna throw some fire oil at her, and I want to propose a devil's bargain for this.
Okay.
I want to throw. I'm gonna use. Say I've got another bandolier, which will check off another box. I've got the load for it, and I'm gonna throw like a bunch of fire oil, like 3 containers at once.
It's immersive. Really, it'll be over quicker.
Wow. Bunch of honorable bastards you are. Okay. All right. Oh god, what action? Well, what action rating are you gonna roll?
I think I'm rolling wreck because I'm just throwing Molotovs around now. This seems wrecking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think here's what I'm gonna do. After this, we're gonna resolve Tobias's thing with 1 more roll, and then we're just gonna get you all out of here. Because I am not interested in like pulling enough complications has happened. You'll burn this ship to the ground. And I think, all right, you're gonna roll your wreck, and you gotta devil's fucking hell. Yeah, that's 3 dice. Jesus Christ.
I'm willing to potentially assist here. I'm actually of a mind to intentionally trauma out anyway because that saves me some upcoming downtime actions.
Okay, all right.
So I think I'm going to assist. I've still got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a tick left. I'll mark throwing knives, and I think that I'm going to add some blood loss and trauma to the scorch marks here.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Am I rolling risky or desperate?
This is still kind of desperate. The ship is about to the engine is still there's an explosion, but it's gonna keep exploding. It's gonna take out this ship. So this is still desperate.
I think we're standing in twisted metal and scorch marks and stuff. Yeah.
I will say this is great because you're throwing a bandelier's worth of fucking Molotovs and a bunch of knives just in case into this. So this is desperate. Great.
All right. 6.
There it is. There's that 6.
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm not gonna describe in great detail. I think you're just gonna do it, and you're gonna make a run for it as as you kind of leave. Margaret Vale doesn't scream. I
don't think we could hear her if she did.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough explosions. I think you're gonna kind of run as the 2 of you run. You've successfully you've killed her. Sure, you make your run towards the exit. To back to your small boat. All right, one last thing with Tobias, and here's where your hunting thing Selkalla can help out, so you can trauma out. I think you have 1 more stress box left.
Yes, I'll do it.
All right. So Tobias, there's the sheaf of map routes and whatnot. And Chael is kind of like, well, the two of you kind of heard the explosion.
Got to
But
build on that.
yeah, so what do you do?
Yeah, well, I assume she'd sort of have me pressed up against something. She slightly outweighs me, so she's got the advantage in the blade lock. But there would be an explosion, and then shortly afterwards, the sound of a woman being burned to death. Quietly, apparently, because she's very stoic. And I would take that opportunity to shift weight slightly and get right up in her face and be like, back the wrong horse. I feel like your new friend's fortunes are sinking rapidly.
That's a bonus die for puns, I think.
And that would actually be, I would try command. Basically, I would be telling her to get out of here because now is not the time when we finish this. We will do it at a time of our own choosing.
Okay, all right. I think that's a desperate great because the explosions kind of added to it. I think she's smart enough to realize kind of what's happening. I want to know how Selkalla, how your pet is going to help in this.
Yeah. It may not even necessarily be the pet anymore. Now that you mentioned it like that. I think because we're kind of converging back towards the middle of the ship where our entrance was, I'm sort of stumbling my way through, intensely stressed out. Though although only my jacket's mostly singed at this point. I think you see Selkalla draw one of her pistols again, and it's probable that Chael does not know that I've discharged all my guns completely, and I haven't had time to reload. But I'm going to brandish it menacingly behind sort of Stumpy's back here as we're as we stumble forward, and the implication being that your boss who ran back here to check on us, she's not here with us anymore, which accurate.
Yeah. All right. That's an extra die. Actually, I said great. It actually you do have one harm, so it's gonna bring it down to desperate standard. It's still good. Desperate standard is still good. So that's with command. You're saying?
Yes. And one bonus dice.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, no, that's still good. 5 is still good. 5 is you're still gonna do it. I think the complication it's gonna happen to people. It won't happen to you because you won't be here, but it's gonna happen next session. I'll leave it. I'll keep that pocket in mind. But you're still gonna do it. I think all this combination. I think Chael growls and pushes you away and kind of like checks past Selkalla and runs past her. I think at this point Selkalla's gonna pass out from having stressed out. So I think that's gonna knock her out. Is Chael kind of like running past and like checking her against the wall, and Chael is gonna run, is gonna leave. And I think you Tobias, you can grab the sheaf of map. The map.
Okay. I show it excitedly to my one remaining conscious. Mara, got it. I think. Let's get out.
Let's get out of here.
A lot of confusion, but we think we've got it. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not even like whispering. It's just basically shouting in your face. I think I got it.
And the three of you are gonna get back onto your gondola boat, and just you're not solo. You're just gonna taper out, and I think there's a lot of shouting as the ship just just starts exploding. A lot of people.
Yeah, I think the back falls out of it, right? Because that's where the engine room is. It's just gonna fall through the floor, burn through the bulkhead.
Yeah, it's gonna start sinking as y'all leave. And the weird thing is that like when you kind of leave, all the general shouting, explosions, and the fire, it just kind of melds into the background of what's happening in Duskwall.
Yeah, just another average night in Duskwall.
Yeah. Well, while these riots are happening.
Yeah.
Mysteriously destroyed just in rioting in the orgy of violence. Terrible what people would do to one another.
Yeah.
I know, terrible.
All right. So before I leave you off, I know we've gone way over. We're just gonna do like end of session XP stuff. Let's do that quickly because I know Patsy, you're not gonna be here next session, but maybe in December I'll email you for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, no, and I'd love to.
Hell yeah! All right, so I'm gonna go by the order from up top to bottom in the character keeper. For everyone else, so you see your character sheet, you have mark XP, and the XP you get, it can either go to your playbook advancement, in which case they'll get you a new special ability when it fills up, or to any of the 3 other attribute markers there. And when those fill up, you can add an extra dot to your action rating, an action rating underneath that. So Kala, did you
Yes.
address the challenge with tracking or violence?
Yes and yes. I tracked down the leader of the Fog Hounds, and then we eventually murdered her. So like in one, yes. I think that's 2 XP, and I'm going to mark it in playbook.
Yes. So yeah, if you mark if an item happens multiple times, you mark 2 XP. Yes. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I'm less sure about this one. I don't think that Selkalla's beliefs or drives have been expressed greatly outside of
Yeah.
the generic interest in the crew.
I
So
will
I'll relax on this one.
Well, there's a thing again that I'm taking from another Gauntlet GM where he modifies it so you can get more XP. Honestly, basically, he asks, "What did we learn of X character in this session?" So, what did we learn of Selkalla in this session?
She is a cold killer, and also like sort of. This is something I might bring out later with the trauma, but sort of like really she's a controlling slash obsessive slightly individual. Like I was actively hunting the leader of the Fog Hounds before any of this happened in the city, like preparing for this. I was the first one on the scene getting the boat ready. Like she's got a lot of things going on, and she's always working to find an advantage. Not like in a necessarily positive way for me, because like I'm about to crack and experience one of my 4 traumas here. So she's really high strung, I think, is what we found out about Selkalla.
Yeah, I think just because we found it out, you'll take 1 XP for that, and then
Sure.
you can further express that in future sessions.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so that's yours. Mara, the hammer. God. Well, we figured out what that means. All right. So, did you address a challenge with technical skill or?
I think I did a lot of mayhem.
Yeah, I think you did both.
I think I get 2 XP for that.
Yes, 2 XP. You wrecked the engines and you wrecked a person with mayhem. What did we learn of Mara today in this session?
She's really comfortable with explosives, I guess.
God. It's so much. It'll take 1 XP for that, for sure. And again, yeah, you can put that in your playbook advancement or on one of the prowess insider resolve. Take 1 XP. And yeah, the last one, you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas. That usually doesn't come up in the first score, anyway, because we've not done vices yet, and no one has trauma yet. Well, someone has. But yeah, so I'm skipping over that for today. Stumpy, Tobias, did you address the challenge with violence or coercion?
Yes, both on the same person.
Hell yeah! Take 2.
Sure.
What did we learn of Tobias in this session?
He's probably why he's not been able to secure like regular employment up till now, because he had one job and he forgot about it in order to settle a grudge that he has from his personal life. So irresponsible, maybe.
Yeah, take 1. Oh yeah, don't forget when you made those rolls, they were under desperate. So you should have taken XP for at least for command, and yeah, just check back, because I know I should have been pointing that out.
Yeah, I think I think just the command was desperate because things got desperate after the engine exploded.
Okay. But the nice thing is actually you can scroll back. You can see what position your rolls were in. So you can see if I'll look into that in between sessions. But yeah, I think definitely mark under resolve. That's where command is. Mark an XP there. But yeah, and take 1 XP for what we learned about Tobias today. Cool. All right. Last thing is the crew XP. Yeah, a lot of XP tracking in this game. All right. So there's 4 questions. Did you execute a successful espionage, sabotage, or theft operation? Well, you got what you wanted. Absolutely.
Very true.
Did you contend with challenges above your current station? You're tier 0 and they were at tier 1, so I'd say yes.
Yeah.
So I'll take another one. Did you bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one?
I mean, I don't think we did anything to encourage our reputation as honorable.
No, we kind of pushed away from that, eh?
Yeah.
Opportunistic rather than honorable. And murderous. Really quite murderous.
Yeah.
I'll say you're kind of developing a new one. So I'm gonna give
Incidentally, in this game, if you kill someone, doesn't their ghost come and bother you?
that- to be continued.
Okay, yeah, just wondering if I'd remembered that right.
Well, let's just say the spirit wardens are a bit busy to dispel any ghosts that might have died underground. They're kind of busy right now with a riot that happened in front of their headquarters. So, thanks for calling that out,
Yeah,
Patsy.
just
Thanks
lay
so
those
much.
pot seeds.
Considering you don't have to deal with them anytime soon.
Yeah, have fun with that, guys.
Express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or sense of nature of the crew. I get a same question. What did we learn of the crew this session?
We've got a rivalry with the Fog people. I'm sorry, I can never remember Fog something.
With the
Fog
band.
Hounds.
Fog
yeah.
Banks.
Well, the thing is,
Okay.
no one took that devil's bargain where it takes it to a -1. You definitely get a -1. I think you would definitely have a start a rivalry now.
I mean, I feel like as a group, they're all pretty desperate to prove themselves for different reasons. So they're kind of scrappy.
Yeah.
That way, very highly motivated.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Oh yeah. All right. So you're one off from your crew advancement from getting an extra ability. That's really good. Yeah, I think that's it for end of session stuff. That was jeez. That was rollicking and that was incredibly rollicking. Thanks so very much, folks.
No, it was a great introduction to the game. For me, at any rate, I would definitely play more of this.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
Hope to see you again.
Yeah, hope these all see you again. So yeah, usually I do stars and wishes, but we're way over, so I'm just gonna let y'all go. One last thing: is it okay if I put this video up for people to watch?
Sure.
I have no issues with that.
Fab. All right. Thanks very much. I'll let you all go. I'm gonna end this broadcast, and yeah, hope to see you all soon. I'll email about when exactly that'll be. It won't be next week because I've stopped happening, but definitely December. We'll get together and continue this. Oh, God, this the loudest shadows I've ever seen.
Yeah. we get in quiet and we leave with a bang.
There's a group name in somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, we need to figure out the name for sure. All right. I'm gonna broadcast. Oops, sorry. End the broadcast, and yeah,